The 3-2 pitch, a swing, little tapper, third base side of the mound. Doval with a bare hand, picks it up, throws. He got him, and the game is over. Camilo Doval very calmly coming off the mound, picked it up with a bare hand, fired a strike, got him by 2 steps.
We are back. What's going on, folks? Kerry, Crowley hanging out with you this evening. The Giants win it 10-7 over the Colorado Rockies, their 7th consecutive victory. And no, they didn't win this run by 1 run. Tonight was a laugher, as Mike Krukow would say. A 3-run victory in which Camilo Doval made things particularly interesting, far more interesting than they had to be in the 9th inning. But the Giants come back yet again against the Colorado Rockies. They win this series, and they've got the opportunity to sweep tomorrow. And if they take advantage, if they go out and beat the Colorado Rockies for the 3rd consecutive game, they will head to Dodger Stadium on Friday, setting up a showdown for first place in the National League West between 2 teams that will be tied atop this division. Regardless of what transpires tomorrow at Coors Field, the Giants, at the very least, have guaranteed that with a great weekend at Dodger Stadium, they can take over first place in the division. This is a team that no one believed in at the beginning of the season. This is a team that no one believed in just a week ago, as the Giants were in the midst of a tailspin. And this is a team that has showed incredible resilience over the last week. Some people will chalk it up to the schedule. The Giants have played a Padres team that started to play a little more poorly of late, although the Giants did show some really impressive resilience last Wednesday in that 6-5 comeback victory. Then they took on a Braves team that's really, really struggled this season, having a really, really bad time of it. And now they're facing the Colorado Rockies, 12-55 on the season. I saw something the other day that said, if the Rockies actually went over 500 the rest of the way by a game or 2, they'd still lose 100 games this season. That's how bad Colorado is. But the Rockies are putting up a fight at home, and the Giants have needed late-inning rallies in each of the last 2 games to get the job done. 415-808 KNBR is the number. I am Kerry Crowley. We've got some Niners talk that we'll get into later this evening. We, of course, want to keep things focused on the San Francisco Giants, and I want to hear from you. Do you believe in this team amidst a 7-game win streak? Can the Giants legitimately threaten for the division right now? Because that's the position that they put themselves in 68 games into the season. Are you buying the idea, sitting here on Wednesday, June 11th, that the Giants can contend for a division crown? I go back 4 years ago. Even at this point, even in July, even in August, I was one of those people who said, no way. Giants can't possibly keep this up. They can't possibly win 100-plus games and take over this National League West with the talent that the Dodgers have. But you know what? A lot of that talent the Dodgers have this year in 2025 is sitting on the injured list. Their starting rotation has been decimated. They're not getting the performances that they thought out of their bullpen. And the Dodgers are disappointed to be in the position they are right now. The Giants, meanwhile, they're thrilled. They have momentum, and they can continue to add to it if they win their 8th consecutive game tomorrow afternoon. Getaway day at Coors Field. Tonight, I want to know, are you buying into this Giants team as a contender for the division in the National League West? You're listening to KNBR 104.5 680, the sports leader.
is 2-2. Yastrzemski swings, drives one, high and deep, right center, way back. It's off the top of the wall. Ramos scores. Smith around third. He'll score to tie the game. Schmidt stops at third, and Mike Yastrzemski comes through again. He just missed a grand slam. He'll settle for a game-tying 2-run double. It's 6.
Giants fans, this is your hub to have your voice heard. Sportsphone KNBR. Streaming live on YouTube at KNBR 1045.
We are back here on Sportsphone KNBR for the third consecutive day. Mike Yastrzemski comes up in a major way for the San Francisco Giants. On Sunday, he ignites the comeback against the Atlanta Braves that leads that series sweep. On Tuesday, against the Colorado Rockies, he delivers the go-ahead RBI single in the ninth inning that leads the Giants to their sixth consecutive one-run win. And tonight, the game-tying double high off that right center field wall out at Coors Field that ultimately propels the Giants to that 4-run eighth inning. Tyler Fitzgerald would follow with the safety squeeze that brought home Casey Schmidt. And Yastrzemski, part of the action once again. Giants fans were ready to give up on him a week ago, but that's why this show, Sportsphone KNBR, is so much fun. We get to hear from you all across the course of a 162-game season. Things change, feelings change, thoughts change. And tonight, I would love to hear what's changed for you when it comes to this team that's now 12 games over 500. Let's go out to Nick in Sacramento. Nick in Sacramento, you're on Sportsphone. Nick, what's going on this evening?
Hey, how are you doing?
Doing well on my end. What's on your mind, Nick?
Hey, so I got a question for you. Is Encarnacion a natural first baseman, or did they kind of convert him into a first baseman?
I don't think he's a natural anything defensively. I think he has the profile of a designated hitter, and unfortunately for the Giants, they've already got a Wilmer Flores on their team. And so this is a team that was short on bats. They figure, hey, where can we stick this guy? Maybe first base. But no, I think outfield was probably where he came up in the Marlins farm system, and first base is a backup option for him because you don't really want him in one of the corners out there either.
Right. I only asked because that error he made in the third inning was pretty horrendous. Stepping away.
Yeah, it's an egregious mistake. It can't happen at the major league level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But besides that, they played great. Duvall loves to torture. That's just the best way to describe it. But, they can battle back, and I guess the battling is just something – it's nice to see them doing that again, because last week it seemed like they weren't battling as much, and it was just more of defeat. But this last week, these last 7 games, truth be told, have been battle-back games, so great for them.
Yeah, absolutely. That's very well said, Nick. I appreciate the phone call. Thank you for those thoughts. And I think you're right. Like, this is a Giants team that through the first 2+ months of the season has frustrated a lot of people. Expectations weren't that high when the season began. But when the Giants got hot out of the gates, when they swept the Houston Astros after the impressive series in Cincinnati, folks got very excited once again. People realized that Buster Posey was in charge and things might be different. And so expectations were ratcheted up for this ball club. And that doesn't mean that you're not going to go through some very difficult spells over the course of a season. The Giants did. 23-game stretch leading into last week's kind of revival when Buster Posey shook up the offense and shook up the roster. The Giants were 9-14, and over the course of about 16 games, averaging 2 runs per game. They were looking like a team that was headed closer to 500 than a team that was going to be 10 games over 500 by the middle of June. And here the Giants are Wednesday night, June 11th, coming off their 7th consecutive win, 12 games over 500. And this is a team that, hey, they've lost Matt Chapman. They've lost Justin Verlander. They've lost Patrick Bailey, who goes on the IL today with a neck spasm. But they figured out a way to get it done. Next man up mentality. You need that. Let's go out to Mo in San Francisco. Mo in San Francisco, you're on Sportsphone. Mo, what's going on this evening?
Can you hear me okay?
Oh, yeah, we got you loud and clear. What's on your mind tonight?
Well, a couple of things. One was Duvall put in with a 4-run lead. The other thing is what's going to happen with Jordan Hicks and what is his future. And Casey Schmidt, I mean, this is like everyone is saying, this is his moment. He'll have an extended time to play and show what he can do. And I hope when Chapman comes back that he has an active role to play on the team.
Yeah, all very good points. And I'll give you those thoughts kind of offline here, Mo. I appreciate the phone call. Thank you for your thoughts. Camilo Doval was put in tonight for one simple reason. And I don't agree with the reason, but he was put in for the simple fact that he'd warmed up. And Bob Melvin didn't want to burn him on a night where he was already warmed up and other pitchers weren't. So you're not going to have Doval sit back down in the mind of Melvin when he's already gotten loose. And, once he's gotten loose, it may mean, hey, you're maybe not comfortable with him throwing on Thursday. So if he's already loose, if he's already hot down in the pen, he comes into tonight's ballgame. I don't think that's the right thing to do. I would have put Sean Jelly in that ballgame. I would have put a different reliever in that ballgame, maybe Randy Rodriguez in that ballgame. I didn't love seeing Camilo Doval out there for the ninth inning, and we saw diminished stuff. Like the cutter, the slider weren't as sharp. The slider was a pitch that he couldn't locate. He got several swings from Colorado Rockies hitters who were clearly pressing, who helped him out there. And the Giants flirted with danger. They're fortunate that they were facing the Rockies, not a more disciplined ball club, because I don't know that Doval makes it through that ninth inning. I really would have liked to have seen someone else, but the idea behind putting him in for Bob Melvin was he's already loose. So you already feel like you got him going. Let me go with Jordan Hicks. I don't know. Right now, I don't think there's room for him on the ball club. I think the Giants may just say, hey, go to AAA and do a rehab game. Go to AAA and stretch out, maybe learn to start again. I think the Giants have to figure out a way to manage that situation because there are too many good pitchers on this team right now. Jordan Hicks in the second year of a 4-year deal. I don't know that they have room for him on this Major League roster at the moment. Maybe you could say send Spencer Bivens down, but Bivens has been important. Maybe you could say send Tristan Beck down, who I don't think had his best stuff tonight, but Beck filled a role. And I think right now, each of those guys is better than Jordan Hicks is. So you make the incredibly difficult decision with, upward of $25 million still owed to Jordan Hicks. And do you say, we've had enough? I don't think the Giants will do that, but it's not an easy thing to manage right now. And so he's on the injured list. There's not an imminent decision for this ball club. I think they have to worry most about what to do in the rotation when Justin Verlander comes back. And I think when he comes back, it'll probably mean Kyle Harrison to the bullpen or to AAA, Sean Jelly or Tristan Beck to AAA. They'll figure something out there. Let's go to Jim in Santa Rosa. Jim in Santa Rosa, you're on Sportsphone. What's going on this evening?
Hey, Kerry, I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Doing well on mine. What's on your mind tonight?
Not much. Just tuned in a little late to the Giants. Don't have much to ask about that. Did want to give out some shout-outs to some slow-pitch softball around the Bay Area. We've got Going to State on Monday up here in Santa Rosa at Comstock. We've got the Russian River Pub Crew playing Tuesdays at Galvin. And we've got my boys down on the Peninsula League in Redwood City. That's going to be the Hogs, now sponsored by Hoppa's Brewery. Kicking the Diamond, I think they'll be on Monday nights as well. But as we've got a major tournament coming up, just want to hear your takes around the U.S. Open, who you're feeling pretty hot outside of Scotty Scheffler going into it, and if you got any sleepers.
Yeah, I appreciate the phone call, Jim, and good luck to all those local Bay Area softball teams that you mentioned. You ought to call in to Copes in the afternoon and talk softball with him. I think he has about as much fun talking local softball as anyone here on the station, but I know Raph does as well. He's producing this evening, so good stuff for our local softball scene. Appreciate that phone call. But as for the U.S. Open coming up, I hate doing it. I hate saying that Scheffler's the pick, but man, it's been electric of late. He's having the best season of anyone since Prime Tiger. Kills me to root for the front runner, but it's hard to pick anyone else. And I'm a diehard Rory McIlroy fan. Anyone who knows me knows that I have been on the Rory train for a long, long time. Loved seeing the breakthrough at Augusta, and man, I hope that there's some more competition at the top of the sport soon, because golf is better when there's 2, 3, 4, 5 elite players at the moment, but right now Scotty Scheffler just running away from the field from everyone. So just some quick golf thoughts there as Jim in Santa Rosa asking about it. But let's get back to some Giants baseball here. Good stuff from our callers so far this evening. 415-808 KNBR is our number. A few players worth highlighting at the moment. I think you look at tonight's game and you see Elliot Ramos, multiple hits. Jung-Hoo Lee scores 3 runs. Mike Yastrzemski with the big game-tying double off the right field wall. We came into this segment highlighting Yaz. But Willy Adames, what he has done the last 2 days is absolutely step up for Matt Chapman. Provide the production that the Giants desperately need. He gets that batting average over 200 tonight, and I'll tell you, it might not mean much to you. It probably doesn't mean a whole lot to me. But when Willy Adames steps into the batter's box at Coors Field, at Dodger Stadium this weekend, at any stadium around the country, when you see batting average posted on the scoreboard, and I've had players tell me this, it impacts your confidence. And if you're going up to the plate in the middle of June and your batting average starts with a 1, it's going to get to your head. It's going to get to your head as much as playing at Oracle Park in San Francisco might be getting to your head. It's going to be getting to your head as much as not having success against an opposing pitcher that you're facing that night gets into your head. But stepping to that batter's box, looking up at the scoreboard and seeing a 1 next to your batting average, that's deflating, especially this late in the season. And so for Adames to go 3 for 4 tonight, for Adames to hit that 452-foot tank, for him to help add on the late innings with a single and a double, makes a big difference for him. Giants need every bit of Willy Adames with Matt Chapman on the IL. They need Casey Schmidt to step up and prove that he is a viable big leaguer right now. Last 2 nights he's done that. Those, to me, are the 2 biggest takeaways from these last 2 ball games. Say what you want about everyone else on the roster, but if Adames and Schmidt play like they have moving forward against teams like the Dodgers, the Guardians, and the Red Sox, upcoming on the Giants' schedule, they will be able to navigate this stretch okay. But this is the Colorado Rockies. The expectation is that every player on your roster is better than just about every player on their roster, because the Rockies are 12-55 and playing at a historically poor pace. Think about this. If they go 12-55 over their next 67 ball games, they'll be 24-110. That should put into perspective how bad the Rockies are this season, and that should put into perspective why the Giants need Hayden Birdsong to throw a gem tomorrow up against Antonio Senzatella, who the Giants are facing for, the 577th time in Senzatella's career. I'm Kerry Crowley. The show is Sportsphone KNBR. Let's go out to Josh in Orlando. Josh in Orlando, you're on Sportsphone. Josh, what's going on?
Hey, Kerry, nice to talk to you. I think I've talked to you once before. I'm to FP and Bill Lasky, but good to hear you again.
Appreciate the phone call.
Thank you. I just wanted to say was what's going on with the Giants right now is looking up. May 11th, 1 month ago, they were not looking good. Their bats were 2 runs a game for 3 straight weeks after that. So right now, it's all looking up. They're looking at each other in the dugout when they bring in that runner from second, and they're datting each other up. And it's all looking up when they go into Dodgers series. The pitching has been confident for the last 4 weeks. I'm not worried about that. It's Coors Field. A lot of runs are going to come in. But when you get into L.A., it's going to be tight unless the Giants put some runs on the board, and I think they're confident to do that when they get there.
Yeah, I think you're right. Thank you for the phone call. I appreciate that thought, Josh. And I do think you're right that it's going to be tight in Los Angeles, but I also believe the Giants can put some runs on the board because, let me tell you this, the Dodgers team ERA right now is in the 20s in Major League Baseball. The Giants are second compared to the New York Mets right now, who are first in Major League Baseball. Giants pitching as well as anyone in this sport. But the Dodgers have been decimated by injuries. Blake Snell, IL. Sasaki, not the guy who they thought they were getting. And I do believe he will be an absolute treat to watch in Major League Baseball for years to come. But even Yamamoto struggled last year. Yamamoto has been so good this year for the Dodgers. He's been the saving grace in that rotation. But Glasnow, injured list. Dustin May, Landon Knack, not providing consistency for them. You can actually hit against the Dodgers. Tanner Scott out of the bullpen, not the guy they thought they were getting. Kirby Yates out of the bullpen, not the guy they thought they were getting. Pitching is just difficult. So we will see. 415-808 KNBR is the number. You're listening to KNBR 104.5-680, the sports leader.
Game of homerless streak for him. He swings here, drives a fly ball high and deep, left center. This a good ride, way back. It's gone! Willie Adames does it again for the Giants. He's heating up, folks. A 2-run home run and 2 batters into the game. The Giants lead 2-0.
Giants fans, this is your hub to have your voice heard. Sportsphone KNBR. Streaming live on YouTube at KNBR 1045.
We are back here on Sportsphone KNBR, and you hear a highlight like that. Willie Adames launched one out 452 feet at Coors Field the first inning. Think, man, the Giants probably never turned back against a lowly team like the Colorado Rockies. Probably led wire to wire, right? Not in the slightest. Giants will ultimately take a 3-0 lead, but a terrible third inning. Marked by a Gerard Encarnacion gaff over at first base, gave the Rockies a 4-3 advantage, forced Robbie Ray to work much harder than he needed to, and ultimately limited Ray to just 4 innings on the evening. He has never really kind of figured out how to dominate Coors Field. It's difficult for a pitcher who relies so heavily on his breaking ball to do so. But the Giants ultimately fall behind 6-3 after Tristan Beck gives up runs in the 5th and the 6th innings. And that would be the score until the 8th inning. That's when the Giants broke out. Casey Schmidt drew a bases-loaded walk to get the Giants on the board in the 8th inning. And then Mike Yastrzemski launches the ball high off the right center field wall into the gap with the bases loaded. It ties the ball game and sets up Tyler Fitzgerald's go-ahead safety squeeze that brings home Casey Schmidt. Initial ruling at home plate was out, but the Giants would challenge Bob Melvin's best move of the evening, was challenging that call. Because there were some other opportunities. Daniel Johnson getting picked off first base. Giants could challenge that after the drop ball by the pitcher. And so, there were opportunities for Bob Melvin to make his mark on this game. He didn't necessarily need to have Camilo Doval come in the ninth inning. Talked about that. But he did ultimately change out Gerard Encarnacion, Dominic Smith at first base, what I thought was a smart move. He did ultimately ensure that the Giants would be in position to win this ball game by going with the safety squeeze with Tyler Fitzgerald. And Casey Schmidt coming home and scoring. Schmidt playing a pivotal role in the Giants' success over each of the last 2 games, and they needed it. With Matt Chapman had the injured list, with an extended stay on the injured list, expected for Chapman, they need Casey Schmidt to prove that he can be an everyday player. So 415 KNBR is the number. We're going to talk some 49ers later on in the evening in the 10 o'clock hour. But first, more of your phone calls. Let's go out to Mike in San Francisco. Mike in San Francisco, you're on Sportsphone. Mike, what's going on this evening?
How you doing, sir? It's a pleasure. This is the first time I've ever had the pleasure of speaking with you, man. How's it going?
Oh man, the pleasure is all mine. Thank you so much for dialing in. What's on your mind, Mike?
Man, diehard Bay Area fan, Giants, Niners, Warriors. Anyway, Adamas, what he's done the last 2 days, and I'm not a Debbie Downer. The man's a stud, okay? But I mean, how long? We've all been waiting for him to warm up, and we're, what are we at? 65, 70 games already, or something like that.
Yeah.
And I'm not, so, but like that. I mean, the guy's this superstar, but he's got a longer leash, so to speak, because
he's got a 7-year leash with that contract that he signed.
Yeah, Kerry, I'm sorry, but yeah, I mean it's maybe a bad comparison, but I love Lamont Wade, but I mean they were like, okay, dude, you're struggling and bye, but they can't bench, not gonna bench or send down Adamas, and I'm not saying they should, but it was great to see him what he did the last 2 days, and man is brought a smile to my face, but. Anyway, that's pretty much all I got, man. And whatever your feedback is, we'll take off the air. It's hard knowing when you're actually on the air, but I'm glad I caught you, man. It's a pleasure.
Hey, I thank you so much, Mike. I really appreciate that phone call. My only piece of feedback is keep calling, giving your thoughts on Giants baseball because we love this community that we got here on Sportsphone and here at KNBR. And I'll tell you when I'm definitely on the air, every Saturday and Sunday pregame with Giants warm-up. We do Giants warm-up about 3 hours before first pitch on Saturdays. Sundays, depends, sometimes 3 hours, sometimes 2 hours. This Sunday I'll be on for what will feel like 4 hours before first pitch. So I'm actually going to fill in for Marty Lurie on Sunday. So we're going to be talking baseball. Then we got our Giants warm ahead of Sunday Night Baseball. So we got a ton of fun stuff cooked up for you over the course of this weekend. Giants take on the Dodgers down Dodger Stadium. And if the Giants win tomorrow, if Aiden Birdsong delivers at Coors Field something that he was able to do as a rookie, remember that memorable 11 strikeout performance in Colorado last year, then the Giants will be tied with the Dodgers heading into this series in Los Angeles on Friday evening. So many people excited about the possibility of the Giants potentially overtaking the Dodgers in the National League West, a possibility that seemed completely out of the realm of what you could expect way back when this season began. But here the Giants are 68 games into the season, 12 games over 500, riding a 7-game win streak, putting themselves in position to contend in the National League West. So quick look at scores around Major League Baseball from today before we move on and get to 49ers. Pirates defeat the Marlins 5-2 today. Bailey Falter gets the win in that one. I think he could be one of the big arms moving this year's trade deadline. Phillies took down the Cubs. Jesus Luzardo finally turned in. Good start after 2 clunkers. They won 7-2. Guardians, the Giants will see next week at Oracle Park, took an 11-2 over the Cincinnati Reds. We're still one game over 500. Reds still very much in the mix in the NL wildcard race. Braves beat the Brewers 6-2 today. The Brewers in the mix of the wildcard race. They're 3 games over the Braves. Out of it completely right now. 9 games under after the Giants swept them over last weekend. The Blue Jays beat the Cardinals 5-2. Cardinals in the mix. They're 4 games over 500 right now. The D-backs beat the Mariners 5-2. The Mariners really falling back of late. Crowley might be the best hitter outside of Aaron Judge in the American League when it comes to pulling the ball in the air. But man, D-backs, 5-2 winners over the Mariners. They are now at 500. The Angels beat the A's 6-5. The A's has just been in a tailspin for the last 2 months. Dodgers took down the Padres 5-2, of course, as we know from earlier today. Dodgers 13 games over 500. How about this? Lou Trevino gets the win for the Dodgers. His second win in Dodger blue this season. Didn't anticipate that one. But it's the state of the Dodger bullpen that they have Trevino in the major leagues right now. Orioles 10-win winners of the Detroit Tigers. You've got some tough news today. Jackson Jobe, their young right-handed pitching prospect, will be undergoing Tommy John surgery and out the remainder of the season. The Red Sox 4-3 winners over the Tampa Bay Rays. The Mets took it 5-0. David Peterson tossed a shutout over the Nationals, 6 hits over his 9 innings of ball. Yankees beat the Royals 6-3 as Clark Schmidt defeated Chris Bubich of the Kansas City Royals. Mideast own Chris Bubich. Twins took down Bruce Bochy's Texas Rangers 6-2. The Rangers were the worst offenses in baseball, and the Astros beat the White Sox 10-2. So that is it for baseball conversation. We're going to swing things over to the San Francisco 49ers on the other side. I am Kerry Crowley. You're listening to KNBR 104.5 680, the sports leader.
Giants fans, this is your hub to have your voice heard. Sportsphone KNBR. Streaming live on YouTube at KNBR 1045.
We are back here on Sportsphone KNBR. Kerry, Crowley, hanging out with you for the third consecutive night this week. Always fun when we get to do Sportsphone KNBR, and always appreciate everyone who dials in to us. Last night we followed a familiar formula. We opened with a few Giants segments. We talked 49ers football after I spent the morning down at Levi Stadium, and then we wrapped things up with some San Francisco Giants baseball, breaking things down, what transpired at Coors Field earlier in the evening. We will follow the same exact format tonight. It is time to discuss the San Francisco 49ers. They wrapped up minicamp on Wednesday. I was down at Levi Stadium chatting with my guy Larry Kruger and several other friendly faces from around Bay Area sports media. And Larry will be back on Talking 49ers tomorrow night on Niners Nightly, 6 o'clock. And I will be joining him as the guest on that show. So very much looking forward to our conversation, everything that we saw this week down at 49ers minicamp. But for now, I thought that there were a few interesting things from today's practice that I wanted to point out and really kind of look big picture at the San Francisco 49ers, because Robert Saleh took the podium after practice today and addressed reporters, and he was asked a number of questions about individuals, about different things that he's looking out for during minicamp. And I thought one of his best answers came when he said, look, I really can't say anything right now. I really don't know until you put the pads on come July and August who's going to fill which roles for the 49ers, who you're going to be able to count on, which newcomers you're going to be able to envision filling particular spots or certain needs for this team. And I think it just goes to show you that while we all want to have big picture takeaways and big picture conclusions at each juncture of the NFL calendar, OTAs and minicamp are probably the only time where that's not advisable, where there's just so little to glean from what takes place in front of you on the field. And that's not to say that there aren't important developments, but it is to say, look, as long as everyone stays healthy, not much is going to change in the months of May and June. And really, you're going to start to see the depth chart take place in the months of July and August when the 49ers get out there for training camp and then ultimately play their 3 preseason games. And so with that, I do think that minicamp offered us a glimpse into what training camp will look like. And this isn't meant to be a rebuke of everything that I just said, but I do think that we learned a little bit this week, and what we learned tells us what we expect to find out come July and August, what we anticipate those big position battles, those big roster battles will look like come July and August, because there were a number of key players off the field today. Of course, the 49ers weren't going to push Trent Williams, Nick Bosa, George Kittle, Christian McCaffrey, even Kyle Juszczyk, and Juwan Jennings, Ricky Pearsall sitting out this week. Like, the 49ers used this week's minicamp as an opportunity to get their younger, lesser experienced players acclimated to football again, to get them playing in front of their position coaches, some new, some old, and really just get key reps. And a lot of these guys who are inexperienced, who are newcomers, 11 draft picks in the organization this year, just get them understanding of the processes and protocols the 49ers use for when this team does take the field and these guys are in pads come July and August. So with that, I just kind of want to do a big picture overview of what I anticipate will be those position battles, will be those roster battles, as long as players are healthy come the months of July and August, when training camp really kicks into gear and when the 49ers are taking a good long, hard look at who will make the 53-man roster, which players will be stashed and stored on the practice squad, and exactly what this team will do moving forward. So obviously, I'm not going to mention names like Christian McCaffrey, like George Kittle when we talk about those respective position groups, but I do think, like, behind Isaac Guerendo, there is really going to be a competition for that third running back job. And the 49ers obviously need 4 to 5 running backs to go through the course of a 17-game regular season. The odds that you're going to have McCaffrey healthy all year long aren't that good. It's why someone like Jordan Mason provided the 49ers value over the last few years, and why, after Mason's trade to the Minnesota Vikings, look, the 49ers are going to need someone like 5th-round draft pick Jordan James to step up, like for undrafted free agent Corey Kiner to step up, or Patrick Taylor Jr., who was taking reps today for the 49ers with the first team when Christian McCaffrey was on the sideline and Isaac Guerrero was mixing in there as well. I ultimately think that Jordan James is the player who the 49ers will rely on. He was the 5th-round draft pick out of Oregon. I know that they like undrafted free agent Corey Kiner out of Cincinnati, and Kiner has some good qualities to him. He's one cut-and-go type of a back, but I think that James is more of a, I was talking about this with Dieter Kurtenbach, who, of course, you hear on KNBR all the time. He is more of a blend of Elijah Mitchell and a Jordan Mason, someone who has vision, someone who has burst, and someone who I think can be a solid back in this 49ers system. So with, the 49ers looking at adding depth at the running back room, Christian McCaffrey praised both Jordan James and Corey Kiner. I just think that James will have the edge in the competition come August. Then, you move to the wide receiver group, and no Brandon Ayuk recovering from the knee injury, no Ricky Pearsall being held back with the hamstring. Jawan Jennings wasn't out in the field. He's got the calf issue. So right now, the 49ers were looking deep into their receiving core this week, and I think what they discovered is they really can't afford another injury. With Ayuk hurt and Pearsall dealing with a hamstring right now, you just don't want to see anyone go down in training camp because this group is pretty darn thin right now. Demarcus Robinson made some impressive catches, former Los Angeles Ram, during OTAs and minicamp. That continued today. But really the standout for me was Jacob Cowing, second-year receiver who just looked much more polished on the field today than at any point that we saw him during his 2024 rookie season. Cowing is someone who Brock Purdy continually looked to today in 7-on-7 Skelly opportunities, in 11-on-11. I think that he runs really clean routes, and that was something that was apparent. Was able to get open against a defense that, it didn't include Diamador Lenore today. The 49ers weren't putting their best players out there. No Fred Warner on the field. But, there are some players who I think Cowing could realistically go up against, or at least the caliber of player that he could face during the regular season, and I do think that he held his own. Jordan Watkins, someone who, of course, the 49ers drafted in the 4th round out of Ole Miss. They'll want to see if his speed can become a factor for this offense, but right now, I'd probably give the edge to Jacob Cowing, and I think that's just true for a guy going from his first year into the second year in the Shanahan scheme. It's one of the reasons I think that if he's healthy, Ricky Pearsall will really take off this season, and one of the reasons that I think, you saw Brandon Ayuk. He was in the doghouse early in his career with the 49ers for Kyle Shanahan. He ultimately took off because he just got acclimated to the NFL level. It is a difficult position to play in the 49ers scheme. Kyle Shanahan demands a lot out of his wide receivers. Cowing can't be all catch, can't be all route running, but you're not going to see him blocking during minicamp and OTA, so maybe that's a way that Jordan Watkins fights his way through that competition. So that's kind of how I look at the wide receiver room right now. Offensive line, I think, is an interesting group because the 49ers obviously lost Aaron Banks, the left guard. They also lost Jalen Moore, their swing tackle, who played a lot last year in place of Trent Williams when he got hurt. Look, we knew this last year when Williams got hurt. We know this right now. If he's not on the field, it's just a completely different offensive line. He is the anchor of that group. The 49ers need him healthy, but they also need a viable swing tackle behind, Colton McKivitz at right tackle and Trent Williams at left tackle. And I'll tell you, Austin Pleasance looks the part. This is someone who's bounced around several different organizations, appeared in 3 games for the 49ers last season after that Williams injury, ultimately played some for the 49ers in December. This dude's 6'7" and 330 pounds. It is very difficult to distinguish yourself from a physical standpoint on the field when you're next to a bunch of other NFL players. Like, you look at the linebacker room and Fred Warner just looks different than everyone else. And that's also because Fred Warner's a Hall of Famer. You look at the tight end room, George Kittle looks different than everyone else. George Kittle's a Hall of Famer. Most other position groups don't have someone who looks completely different. And I'll tell you, Austin Pleasance looks different than the other swing tackles in this competition right now. He just looks bigger, and it's no guarantee of success. You have to see him move, you have to see him bend, you have to see him be able to hold off force on the edge. But I do think, physically speaking, he is the type of player who you would project to perform well at that swing tackle role. Kind of the 6th offensive lineman for the 49ers. I think that he's someone to keep your eye on. Ben Barch right now, someone who I think probably the front runner at the left guard position to replace Aaron Banks. But I do think a competition come training camp will be Ben Barch and Spencer Burford, who's spending the offseason working out with Trent Williams. Trent Williams has kind of taken Burford under his wing, and so that could ultimately make a difference for Chris Forster, the offensive line coach, and, of course, Kyle Shanahan. But it's very difficult to project the lines at this point in time. Robert Saleh was saying, and I opened the segment talking about this, you can't really learn much unless players have the pads on, unless you're full takedown tackling, unless you're thumping.
And it's very difficult to glean a whole lot of information from players when you're on the field in May and June and you're just running through the system. You're just, teaching guys footwork, teaching guys alignment, technique, that sort of thing. They're learning the playbook. And that's particularly true with the offensive line and the defensive line as well. I know that Chris Kasarik was very excited to work with a number of these young players, including Michael Williams, CJ West. Williams dealt with a hamstring issue, so he was held off the field on Wednesday. Alfred Collins out of Texas, second-round draft pick. He's dealing with a calf thing that occurred before the NFL draft, according to Kyle Shanahan, who disclosed that information on Tuesday. So Collins wasn't partaking in practice. But one thing that's just abundantly clear to me after watching 49ers minicamp down at Levi Stadium this week is that the 49ers have a ton riding on Bryce Huff. They really believe that this guy who had 10 sacks back in 2023 in Robert Saleh's scheme with the New York Jets can be a game changer for their defensive line. They'll break out that NASCAR package, and they think that Bryce Huff is the fastest player that they've had off the line of scrimmage since D Ford back in 2019 when he had his 6.5 sack season. And I think that the 49ers have been missing that element opposite of Nick Bosa. They need a true speed guy. Huff is not an every down player on the edge. He came into the NFL as a linebacker. Robert Saleh kind of told that backstory today. They had him beef up to figure out how to play defensive end in that scheme in New York with the Jets, and it worked for him. He ultimately got significantly better. He was someone who would close games in the fourth quarter. You wanted him getting off the ball in key situations extremely fast. He's able to do that. That's apparent from just watching him and how twitchy he is on the field compared to the other defensive ends the 49ers have in their scheme right now. So I think that he will alleviate some of that early pressure that number 11 overall pick Michael Williams will feel. The 49ers were coming off of a season in which they finished 29th against the run. Williams is clearly going to be critical in setting the edge against the run, but in passing down situations, they'll want to slide him inside, a la Eric Armstead, what he used to do for Saleh in this 49er scheme. They'll want Bryce Huff coming off of the edge. And, Robert Saleh said today, his disruption rate, getting the quarterback off his spot, the way he can do it right now, he's a second effort pass rusher, but he wins so quickly that coordinators have to account for his presence. So that's all good stuff from Robert Saleh. And, there were other guys out there today, Evan Anderson, Sam Aquinu, Kevin Givens, Jordan Elliott. But I think, Huff was the guy who everyone was focused on that defensive line after the 49ers landed him in that trade from the Philadelphia Eagles last week. So the linebacker position up next. Here's what I'll say. If there's any position outside of wide receiver where you need to be concerned about depth, I think it's linebacker right now. I wasn't particularly impressed by the physicality of Nick Martin, and I know that it's way too soon to say something like that before this guy even puts his pads on. Third-round draft pick out of Oklahoma State who just put up prolific tackling numbers at the college level. I loved this selection when the 49ers made it, but I do think that Martin needs to learn the scheme and needs to beef up just a little bit. He looks a little bit more like a safety out there right now. He'll need to spend time in the weight room. He'll need to get accustomed to playing with a little added weight. And I do think if the 49ers are going to be at their best, Martin on the weak side is going to have to put on a little bit of weight to make it through a 17-game season. He is tremendously fast. He's got great closing speed. I saw it all day long as Brock Purdy and Mac Jones checked the ball down to running backs in the flat. Nick Martin was flying over to the flat, and he could do so with great closing speed. But I do think size is going to be a concern for Nick Martin at the linebacker level. It's one of the reasons that you could see D. Winters making a push for the 49ers at the linebacker position, a 2023 sixth-round draft pick for the 49ers. He is someone who I think Robert Saleh was kind of buzzing about post-practice today. He said it's easy when it's OTAs, you're not having to deal with run-pass reads, and everything's a little bit slower, but D. Winters has got something to him. I don't want to jinx him, but if he stays on this trajectory and attacks these next 40 days, he's due for a heck of a season. So, anytime you can get that kind of quote about someone during OTAs or minicamp, it kind of tells you what the coaching staff really thinks. They're so reluctant to single out individual players. They're so reluctant to go on and on about individuals because you don't have the pads on. You can't gauge a whole lot. But the fact that D. Winters had Saleh talking like that should tell you kind of how he slots into this 49ers defense right now that won't obviously have Dre Greenlaw after he went to the Denver Broncos in free agency. We'll rely on a few other players like Tatum Bethune. He could be a guy, 7th round draft pick in 2024. Chaz Surratt, who played sparingly with the New York Jets, more of a special teams guy in Saleh's scheme in New York, but he could be a factor just because he knows the 49ers scheme. I do worry about this team when they've got 3 linebackers on the field in their base personnel package. I think they'll be slightly better in the nickel. And one of those reasons is I was impressed by both nickel corners the 49ers ran out this week in former Seahawks defensive back Trey Brown, who played almost exclusively on the outside in Seattle, and then rookie corner Upton Stout, who, look, he's 5'8". He's undersized compared to everyone that you see on that 49ers defense. You know, heck, everyone that you see on the field when the 49ers get to practice, but he kept up with those wide receivers in the slot. Like, Upton Stout is strong. The 49ers know this from his testing at the NFL Combine. They know this from watching him work out. They fell in love with his tenacity. And Stout, after the draft, was talking about how he's like another linebacker. You don't want to be too small in the box. I really enjoyed watching him over the last few days. I have questions about whether he can stay healthy for 17 games. I do think that he is undersized, and that's going to be a difficult hill to climb for him because there are just some positions in the NFL, and I think nickel corner is one of them where you want to have a little bit more size than he does right now. But, man, he's fun, and he's fully into the action. The other guy, Trey Brown, I think he will kind of play maybe the Isaac Yiadom role that you saw last year, first corner off the bench. I think the 49ers are comfortable with Demo, Lenore, and Renardo Green starting outside right now. You could eventually move Lenore back inside if you absolutely had to, but I really enjoyed watching Trey Brown both playing the nickel and playing outside. I think he's got good coverage skills, and I think he's due for potentially a big season as the depth option at cornerback for the 49ers. Another group that I was watching closely this week was the safety position. No Malik Mustafa, no Jair Brown. Mustafa recovering from the knee injury. Jair Brown had his ankle operated on this offseason. That left Richie Grant and Jason Pinnock is the safeties this week. And I'll tell you, I think that Grant may have an uphill battle to see in the field, but Pinnock is someone who's been on Robert Saleh's radar since he was coming out of the college level at the University of Pittsburgh. He was drafted by the New York Jets in 2021 as a cornerback, and then Saleh asked him to transition to the safety spot coming into the 2022 season, and it appears though he was all set to make the team. That didn't end up happening for Jason Pinnock, so he goes and he signs with the New York Giants, doesn't have to leave the building, but does end up playing at MetLife Stadium, and he started 32 games over the last 2 seasons, and the tape isn't all that impressive, but get him back in a scheme where the defensive coordinator's got a ton of confidence in him. Saleh said today, I've always been a fan of his athleticism, his length, and his football IQ. And I think that the football IQ kind of showed up. The way that he tracks routes, the way that he sets up the secondary before the play, I think that he's someone who could be a factor, whether free safety, strong safety. Once Malik Mustafa comes back, I think the 49ers can figure that out during training camp. And then one more thing to mention with regard to kind of training camp competitions, roster battles, things that I noticed this week. Yesterday, Jake Moody, I think, went 6 for 7 on field goal opportunities. Today, veteran Greg Joseph takes the kicks. He made all 7 of his field goal attempts during the special teams portion of practice. Let me tell you this right now. I don't think any of those kicks of the past 2 days will factor into the decisions that Brant Boyer, the new special teams coordinator, John Lynch, Kyle Shanahan will make come the end of August, the beginning of September, when the 49ers set this roster with their batch of special teams players. It just doesn't seem to me like it's a wise move to base things off of what happens in June when you're kicking with the wind at your back down in Santa Clara on the practice field. So we will see come preseason games, we will see come higher pressure situations, but I just don't anticipate the 49ers making a decision based off of what transpired on June 11th down in Santa Clara. So with that, that's my review of the 49ers minicamp over the last 2 days. Obviously, a bunch of jobs up for grabs, a bunch of roster spots up for grabs. Those are just, to me, the most interesting competitions that I think we will see unfold come training camp. You can't read too much into what happened during minicamp. You obviously don't want to put much stock into what happens without pads on for these NFL players, for these guys acclimating to the NFL like the rookies and the inexperienced players are. But I do think you always learn a little bit every time these teams in the NFL take the field. And I certainly learned a lot from going down to Levi Stadium this week and watching the 49ers on Tuesday and then this morning. So when we come back, we will wrap things up with some more Giants baseball on the other side. I am Kerry Crowley. You are listening to Sportsphone KNBR here on KNBR 104.5 680, the sports leader. Here on Sportsphone KNBR, Kerry Crowley wrapping up this evening's show as the Giants continue their winning ways. Appreciate everyone once again indulging me in some 49ers talk. I was down at Levi Stadium for the second consecutive day and wanted to cover minicamp. But we do want to wrap up this evening with the main subject of the night, and that is your San Francisco Giants winning their 7th consecutive ball game. After 6 one-run wins, the Giants find a way to come back. They score 4 in the 8th, 3 in the 9th, and they needed every last run tonight in a 10-7 win over the Colorado Rockies. This was the offensive explosion that Giants fans have been waiting for over the last month or so, and tonight it was Willy Adames setting the tone. 3 for 4, a home run in the first inning to put the Giants up 2-0, a long 452-foot blast, 106.6 miles per hour off the bat. Jung-Hoo Lee helped things out with a triple in the third inning. He later came home to score in that frame, and then the Giants' bats went silent against Kyle Freeland and the early part of that Colorado Rockies bullpen in Mejia, but Tyler Kinley comes in and the Giants seized an opportunity in the 8th inning. It was impressive at bats all up and down the lineup, including Casey Schmidt, who continues to impress in his second consecutive game that he goes 2 for 4. Schmidt proving that he can fill in for Matt Chapman. He's had some solid plays with the glove over at third base, including an absolutely tremendous scoop along the line and a long whirling throw over toward first baseman Dom Smith that was right on the money. Schmidt proving that he can at least be an admirable fill-in for these next few days, as the Giants are going to be without Matt Chapman for in all likelihood the next few weeks. He told Susan Slusser and Maria Gordado on Tuesday afternoon at Coors Field in Colorado that he hopes to be back before the All-Star break. The Giants will get definitive word on Chapman from Dr. Stephen Shin when they head down to Los Angeles. Chapman will get checked out in the LA area, but for now, they need Schmidt to step up, and they also need their catchers to step up. Andrew Kisner 0 for 2 tonight before he comes out of the ballgame. Logan Porter ends up stepping in. He strikes out. He was the player added to the roster today when Patrick Bailey was placed on the 10-day injured list with the neck spasms that he's been dealing with, and so you're not going to get much out of the catcher position offensively of the next 10 days. Giants are accustomed to not getting much out of it when Patrick Bailey is in the lineup, but they are going to take a hit defensively, and I think you saw a little bit of that with Robbie Ray tonight. Ray, who's thrown so much this season to actually Sam Huff. He's caught the guy a lot this year, Bailey as well. He ends up throwing to Kisner tonight, and he was hurt in significant ways by Gerard Encarnacion's defense over at first base, as Ray ends up allowing 4 runs, just 2 earned over 4 labor-intensive innings, 93 pitches for Robbie Ray in one of his worst starts of the season, but he was not helped out by Gerard Encarnacion dropping an easy throw from second baseman Tyler Fitzgerald. The Giants just had to make a switch late in the ball game. They go to Dominic Smith. He comes off the bench, goes 1 for 2, a key hit. Bloops went in during that late rally that the Giants had, and really an impressive display in the late innings from the San Francisco Giants, because this is an offense that we know can get shut down, that you know is at risk of losing to the Colorado Rockies because it happened before this season back at Oracle Park. In fact, I believe it may have even been a Kyle Freeland start at Oracle Park when he shut them down and Tyler Rogers gave it up in the late innings, but that was not going to happen tonight for the San Francisco Giants. In the top of the 8th inning, who else but Willy Adames got things going? He gets the average up back over 200 tonight with his 3rd hit of the game, a single a single out to Bretton Doyle, I should say. Then Elliot Ramos followed with a single. Dom Smith bloops went in. Casey Schmidt draws the bases loaded walk, a player who early in his career was known for chasing pitches out of the strike zone, particularly someone who would go out and expand the zone in these critical moments. He shows impressive discipline, and night after the 9th inning home run got the Giants rally going against this Denver bullpen. It was his bases loaded walk that got the Giants on the board in the 8th inning, and then it was Mike Yastrzemski, who's come up so big for the Giants in each of their last 3 ball games. He comes up big with 3 runs batted in Sunday's win over the Atlanta Braves. He comes up big on Tuesday night with the go-ahead single into right field in the 9th inning after Wilmer Flores tied the ball game with 2 outs with the infield chopper that he hit. And then Yastrzemski tonight, with the Giants trailing 6-4 in the 8th inning, he rockets a double out to right field, high off that right center field wall at Coors Field. Dom Smith scored, Elliot Ramos scored, Casey Schmidt ran over to third base, and then the Giants take the lead on Tyler Fitzgerald with the safety squeeze. Casey Schmidt initially ruled out at home plate by the home plate umpire, but a long replay review confirmed what we'd all known, what Dave Fleming and Javi Lopez had seen on TV moments earlier. They had a great call of that moment. Casey and the Giants would not stop there. In the ninth inning, Jung-Hoo Lee led things off with a walk. Willie Adames doubled out to left field, a line drive double that really hung up off the bat. Left fielder Jordan Beck probably could have made a play on it as the ball hit his glove, but it was one of those sinking liners, made it difficult. Wilmer Flores had a sac fly. Of course, more late-inning heroics from Flores, who's so good in the ninth inning. I believe it's his ninth inning RBI of the season. Schmidt singled to score Adames. Giants take that 9-6 lead, and then Yastrzemski once again helps the Giants cause out with his second hit of the ball game. He picks up his third run batted in with a single out to Brenton Doyle in center field. So Yastrzemski brings that season average up to 239. The OPS back above 700 after his impressive performance in the late innings tonight. And the Giants walk out of Coors Field with their 40th win of the season, a season-high 12 games over 500. They keep pace in the National League West, second place behind the Los Angeles Dodgers, who, of course, won today over the San Diego Padres, as we mentioned earlier. And what this means is that even if the Giants lose tomorrow against the Rockies, and believe me, they want to go in, they want to sweep Colorado, they want to take advantage of the worst team in Major League Baseball. But even if they do lose tomorrow, they will head into Dodger Stadium on Friday with the opportunity to win that series and overtake the Dodgers in the division in the National League West and emerge mid-June first place in this division. A once unthinkable idea has now become a reality for this team with a strong week of play. 7 days after Buster Posey shook up this roster in dramatic fashion, the Giants have won 7 consecutive games. Their run differential was +6 in those first 6 games because they'd won each of them by 1 run. But hey, they win by 3 tonight. Bob Melvin will take it. And in the ninth inning, Camilo Doval certainly didn't make it easy for himself. Didn't love that Doval was even in that game to begin with. He allowed 3 hits, 1 walk. Clearly was not sharp, but he ultimately got out of the jam in the ninth inning with a tying run at the plate. Tyro Estrada had contributed to that rally for the Colorado Rockies after making the final out of last night's ball game. But the Giants ultimately find a way to come through in the late innings. This is an offense that's shown so much resilience this season, and they pick up their 20th comeback win of the season. So that's an even 20 comebacks in 40 games for the San Francisco Giants. And when they score 4 runs, this is a team that's incredibly difficult to beat. They scored 10 tonight. Robbie Ray didn't have his best up, and he has picked the Giants up so many times this season that it's fitting that the offense picks him up as well. A few players worth highlighting before we sign off for the evening. Obviously, we already talked about Willie Adames, his 3 for 4 night. Elliot Ramos continues to swing the hot bat. He's 2 for 4, a 295 average now, an 849 OPS. Dom Smith contributes off the bench with another hit. The Giants love to see that. Casey Schmidt with 2 hits, Mike Yastrzemski with 2 hits, and then Tyler Fitzgerald with 1 hit. But it was perhaps the most important hit of the game for the San Francisco Giants as his safety squeeze brought home. Well, you know what? That wasn't his hit. The safety squeeze was probably ruled that way by virtue of a fielder's choice. So Tyler Fitzgerald had another knock tonight, but we will remember his evening for the safety squeeze that gave the Giants that 7-6 lead out there in the 8th inning. So they tacked on 3 more in the 9th, of course. Jung-Hoo Lee playing a key role in that. He reached 3 times tonight, scored 3 runs, and then the bullpen helps get the job done behind Robbie Ray. It was a topsy-turvy outing for Tristan Beck, who didn't have his best stuff, but Tyler Rogers in the 8th inning continues to be the best setup man in Major League Baseball this side of Randy Rodriguez with an inning, 1 hit allowed, lowers its ERA to 1.44, and then I would have liked to have seen pretty much anyone else aside from Camilo Doval in the 9th inning, but Bob Melvin figured he was already warming up, so sent him out there anyway. He didn't look sharp, but fortunately for the Giants, they were facing the Colorado Rockies and not an offensive juggernaut, so they were able to take advantage in another marathon contest at Coors Field, another game that exposed the Colorado Rockies and their weak bullpen. You have to beat the bad teams when they come up on your schedule, and that is exactly what the San Francisco Giants were able to do on Tuesday evening, on Wednesday night, and we will see first pitch coming your way tomorrow, 12:10 p.m. Pacific time. I believe Landon Roop will be taking the ball for the San Francisco Giants. Justin Verlander had a nice simulated game this afternoon out at Coors Field, facing hitters including Gerard Encarnacion and Christian Koss. And the Giants will hope to look for Verlander in the rotation when they return home next week to take on the Cleveland Guardians Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday after that Monday off day following a 3-game set at Dodger Stadium. The highly anticipated 3-game set, and the Giants stay within striking distance of the Dodgers due to their win this evening. I want to thank our producer tonight, Rafael Corral. I want to thank the callers who made the beginning portion of tonight's show so fun. Appreciate everyone who dialed in tonight here on KNBR 104.5, 680, the sports leader.
using the Turner screen, driving to his left. Cross-court pass to Neesmith, and he buries a cold-blooded three from the right sideline.
Falling out of bounds, contested knockdown three ball.
He's got 7 points. It's 110-102. This is Indiana's largest lead of the game.
Thank you for listening to the Bart Winkler Show. Here's Bart Winkler.
It is the Bart Winkler Show. Thunder Radio Network would sound more depressed than that. That was the Pacers Radio Network. Sorry, my script that I wrote for tonight assumed that the Thunder would win the game. I had to tear that up and go on the fly here as the Pacers win game 3, 116 to 107. Now up 2-1 in the series. 888-710 for ISN. 888-710-4476. Greg is in Michigan. Greg.
Alberto, it's the Warrior, Mr. Positive. Real quick, Detroit Lions, they're not going to do too well this year, let me tell you. Don't hate me in Detroit, but you and I know how I feel about Detroit.
You like Detroit, right?
I do, but losing Ragnow and our coaches, no, we'll be lucky to win 8, 9, 10 games at the most, and Chicago or Green Bay will be number one. But here's the thing. Marco, my man, was spot on. I love the underdog. I just feel that Indiana Pacers are playing like there's no tomorrow. They have the eye of the tiger. I am so proud of them. Who would have ever thought? The world didn't really think that the Pacers had a chance against OKC, but look
You're
what's
proud
happening.
of them. I'm the other way. I feel like they got some demon magic going on.
Oh, my God, Alberto. Mr. Positive believes in their destiny, and I just got to tell you, they're doing it. They're doing it. And, it just is amazing. And, hey, thanks for taking my call. Thanks, Carlos, and everybody. Go for your dreams. Have a good one, Bart.
Greg in Michigan, thank you for the call. Hey, if he's a Detroit guy, he's a Pistons guy. That means we should be not rooting on the division rivals, folks. NBA, we don't seem to care about that much. 888-710 for ISN. 888-710-4476. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was held to his lowest point total of the series, just 24 points for him on 9 of 20 shooting. After the game, he talked about what he saw from Indy's defense tonight.
They were aggressive. They were higher in the pick and rolls. They really were just, like Coach said, more aggressive, more forceful. Yeah, we got to, starts with me, but we got to apply that pressure back. Especially if you want to beat a team like that on the road, you got to be the more forceful team for sure.
Yeah, that's what they do. There was some discussion that maybe they should play their starters more, and they still might. Shai played 42 minutes where Tyrese played 36. Like Chet Holmgren and Jalen Williams and Dort all played 36. Siakam and Turner played 32 and 30. Nembhard played 33. Naismith 22. Some of those guys were in foul trouble early, and then Naismith actually ended up fouling out. But one thing that they do, and this applies to the bench, but it also applies for their starters, like they don't mind playing chaotic and aggressive because McConnell's going to play the 15 minutes he's going to play, but he's going to play that at the highest speed that he can. And so when he's in there, it lets those other guys rest, but they know they'll get 15 out of him. They know they can get another 20 out of Mathurin and Ben Shepherd and Obi Toppin. So even some of those guys that are starters, they can just play more aggressive when they're out there. And that's why We talk about, did Oklahoma City, did they look a little tired? They tire you out. That was a big takeaway I had from the Cavs series. Donovan Mitchell was playing 36 minutes a night. He looked gassed because they wear you down. They pick you up right away and they wear you down. Fourth quarter was not good for the Thunder. Outscored 32-18. Oklahoma City had a lead, and then they watched that slip away. Gilgeous-Alexander on what happened in that final frame.
It's hard to say because I don't see it from like a bird's eye view right now. After watching film, we'll definitely have a better idea. But they were aggressive. They were heavy in the crowd. I'm not sure how many points they had, but it felt like that when they scored, like we're going against a set defense, and it's always harder against a set defense.
Everybody's seemingly had their night when they've been in this run. And tonight's was Benedict Matherin's night. So since 2000, players that have scored at least 25 points in a finals game at age 22 or younger, Kobe, LeBron, Kawhi, Tony Parker, Benedict Mathurin. Pretty good company to be in. And he did it, 27 points, as he's 22 years old. Oh, God, they're going to win. His birthday is Game 6. Mathurin learned a lot about being on the bench last year.
I think as much as I was out last year, not being able to play, I learned a lot. Just being on the bench, being next to the coaches who were able to run me through the game and stuff like that. So, I was able to. It was an unfortunate situation, but I was fortunate enough to learn a lot and be ready for this year.
He also shouted out the crowd, which again included Indiana celebrities Pat McAfee and Caitlin Clark and Reggie Miller.
They were very, very important. I think that the state of Indiana is about basketball. And that's the first time that I really felt it. And as much as this is a dream right now, I'm not trying to live in my dream. I'm trying to live in the present and make sure the dream ends well, which means winning next game and winning a championship.
He also had the most points ever scored in an NBA Finals game by a player with 22 minutes or less, Benedict Mathurin, who is going to turn 23 years old next Thursday night. Game 6, games in Indy. It's destiny, folks. It is destiny for the Pacers. Want to thank Marco Belletti and Carlos Ortiz. Greg Caserta, MLB Network, joining us in hour number 1. Stanley Cup tomorrow, Bartometer tomorrow. We'll be back. Looking forward to it. Pat Boyle up next. This is The Bart Winkler Show.
Pacers looking for their first lead of the fourth quarter. 4 minutes gone. Mathurin launches and hits. Shot from the edge, a 3-ball. He has scored 8 of his 25 here in the fourth, and it's a 2-point Pacer lead. Mathurin has been a huge difference maker in this game.
Just ain't ready, whenever my number gets called, just to go in the game and, do the right things and trying to have my team win. That's the whole mindset.
Gilgeous-Alexander has it. Siakam defends. He drives to the left wing, and from there, misfires. Rebound, Nembhard after it. He got it, sends it to Halliburton. Up the floor to Siakam. He'll take it in.
What a sequence for Siakam. Lockdown defense on the league's MVP, and he's able to get two to potentially ice this game.
Welcome to the Pat Boyle Show on the Infinity Sports Network.
All right, I'll admit it. This series is going 7. All right, you happy? Nobody can effectively take out this Pacers team. They are tough as hell. They are perfectly coached. It's a different guy every night. Tonight it's Benedict Mathurin, who scored more points than he played minutes. And the Thunder just collapsed down the stretch. Chet Holmgren getting dominated by Miles Turner. This Pacers, their conditioning, how they get better as the game goes on, and how they seemingly get more energized as the game goes on, it is unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And in the fourth quarter tonight, the Thunder looked like the team that were the massive underdog coming into this series. That's what the Thunder looked like. And in the final 5.5 minutes of this game, the Oklahoma City Thunder offense went 1 for 10 from the field. And they scored 7 points in the final 5.5 minutes. The Pacers had 5 blocks in that span. They finally found a way to shut down the MVP. SGA had only 24 points. The Oklahoma City Thunder, the team that was number 1 in the NBA this year in turnovers and points off turnovers. It's now another game that the Pacers commit less turnovers and get more points off those turnovers. And Tyrese Halliburton stepped up. He was a rebound away from a triple-double. A guy that had a noticeable limp after the last game media availability. And I said, I ain't buying it for a second. Don't buy it. It's theatrics. It's all for show. He's not hurt. Didn't see one grimace or grunt or limp or misstep tonight from Tyrese Halliburton. But he was great. He controlled that offense. He facilitated once again, 22 points, 9 rebounds, 11 assists. Pascal Siakam was aggressive as hell in the first half. They needed him to be. And Benedict Mathurin, off the bench, could not miss. 27 points, the game's leading scorer, 9 of 12 from the field. TJ McConnell, the unsung hero tonight, comes in the second quarter and gets a bucket, gets a steal off an inbound, gets a bucket, gets an assist, gets a steal off an inbound again, gets another assist. The way that this team is coached, it's a never-say-die attitude. Oklahoma City started pulling away in the third quarter. They're up by 5. But then the Pacers fought back. And when the fourth quarter hits, that's when this team is most dangerous. And you know what? I did it. Fourth quarter started. I said, I'm going to put $20 on the Pacers. Why? Why run from it when they keep doing it over and 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 over again? They completely outplayed the Thunder on both sides of the ball in that fourth quarter. Outscored them 32-18. And you heard there on Pacers radio, the shot, the turning point was the Benedict Mathurin 3. Of course, the guy who led the game in scoring hits the massive three-pointer to put him up 98-96 with 8 minutes left to go. A minute and a half later, Tyrese Halliburton hits a deep step-back three. They go up 101-98, and they never trailed again. And it was never tied again, and the game was never the same again. The Pacers are up 2-1. They are 2 wins away from an NBA title. And I said it before the series started. I thought it was going to be a sweep. After game 1, I said it was going to be a gentleman's sweep. I'll admit it. I was wrong about this Pacers team. This series is going the distance. This has all the makings of a Game 7 in Oklahoma City in a week from now. 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. Welcome to the Pat Boyle Show. I'm your host, Pat Boyle. You heard Benedict Mathurin. You heard Pacers Radio. And welcome on in. Welcome on in. Another great night for the fans in Indianapolis. And this team has been counted out for the last 3 rounds. I wouldn't say counted out against the Knicks, but they were the underdog going into that series. Nobody gave them a chance, including me, against the Thunder, and they're up 2-1. Nobody gave them, I would say most people didn't give them a chance against the Cleveland Cavaliers. And they took him out in 5. So, another great night for the Pacers fans. Another great night to believe in one of the biggest upsets in NBA Finals history if they could pull this off. This would be, in terms of the pre-series betting odds, this would be the biggest upset in NBA Finals history if they could pull this off. And at this point, I think at worst, it's going 7 games because I don't see any way, the way they played at home tonight, I don't see any way that they would then lose 2 straight games at home. I still think the Thunder win the series. I think they win it in 7. But I don't see the Pacers losing both a Game 4 and a Game 6 at home. Because at this point, OKC's got to win 3 in a row. And if I had to predict the map out the rest of the way that I think this series is going to go, I think OKC bounces back, wins Game 4. They win Game 5 at home. Pacers win Game 6, and it sets up a Game 7 for all the marbles. But, man, this team did not have a good defense in the first half of this year, and they were not known for their defense last year. The evolution and the development of Aaron Nesmith, the evolution and development defensively of Andrew Nembhard, who did a fantastic job guarding his Canadian buddy, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the MVP. The defensive evolution of Tyrese Halliburton, who has never been a good defender, and yet tonight he had a block. He had several plays where he stuck with Jalen Williams, and J-Dub had a great game. He was one of the few Thunder players that had a great game. He had 26 points. He did turn the ball over 4 times, though, and it's sloppy turnovers from everybody on that team. But Halliburton held his own defensively. When the Thunder kept trying to hunt him down, hunt him out in the third quarter, he held his own. He did a good enough job to, again, Oklahoma City only scored 107 points tonight. They only scored 47 in the second half. But again, welcome on into the Pat Boyle Show here on the Infinity Sports Network. We're here with you Monday through Friday, 2 to 6 a.m. Eastern, 11 p.m. to 3 a.m. Pacific. You could tweet me or find me on Instagram, both at PatBoyle44. Why don't we hear from the man of the hour himself, Benedict Mathurin, who, if you listened to the show yesterday, again, I'll admit when I'm wrong. I'll also take a lot of credit when I was right. And I said the 3 things to look out for in Game 3. One of those being who's going to be the guy that steps up off the Pacers bench. Because I said you can kind of pencil in most of the starters, basically all 5 starters, from getting double figures. And, Siakam and Halliburton probably anywhere between 16 and 20 points. But who's that guy off the bench? Game 1, it was Obi Toppin, who had 17 points. I said TJ McConnell, not a great scorer, but with the way he affects the game defensively, with his rebounding, with his passing, and even then, OKC keeps daring him to shoot in this series. He'll probably find a way to get 8 to 10 points, and he got 10. I said, if there's a guy that can really be a spark off the Pacers bench, a guy that had back-to-back 20-point games against the Knicks, it's Benedict Mathurin. And I said, I don't care what he does defensively because Rick Carlisle tried to make him a defensive piece in Game 2, having him guard Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and he got himself into foul trouble. He still ended up scoring 14 points, but I said his value lies within his offense and his scoring ability. This is a guy that was the third leading scorer on the Pacers. He has got to be aggressive and come right off the bench and shoot the basketball. And if he does, Pacers have a shot. And wouldn't you know it, he was the game's leading scorer with 27 points on 9 of 12 shooting. Here is Benedict Mathurin, the hero from tonight, on staying ready off the bench.
I think as much as I was out last year, not being able to play, I learned a lot. Just being on the bench, being next, the coaches who were able to run me through the game and stuff like that. So, I was able to. It was an unfortunate situation, but I was, fortunate enough to learn a lot and be ready for this year.
Last year, Benedict Mathurin kind of had a very similar role to the one that he had this year. He started 19 games. He played an average of 26 minutes, and he averaged 14.5 points per game. This year, he started 49 games, so nearly, more than double. But then again, that was because there was a decent amount of more Pacers injuries earlier in this season, and that's part of the reason why they were under 500 at Christmas. But Mathurin only ended up playing about 3 more minutes per game this year. So under 30 minutes per game, but he was still able to find a way to contribute when he got into the game, and he averaged 16 points per game. It's actually still lower, still less than his rookie season. But it's a role that he thrives in. It's a role that he can contribute. Where he doesn't necessarily need the ball, but he can handle the ball. He can be a point guard if needed. Not in the sense that Halliburton's a point guard, but, again, he can operate. He can be the main guy operating the offense in terms of I'm the aggressor. I'm the one that's going to dribble drive to the hoop, or I'm going to kick it out, or I'm going to hit you with a crossover and shoot a mid-range jumper or a 3. He can also come off the bench, be a guy that sets screens, operate in the pick and roll game, catch and shoot. He did, and also, maybe the most important thing, gets to the free throw line. He has gotten to the free throw line 19 times in 3 games. Coming off the bench. You don't normally see that. But time and time again, just driving it through the Thunder, the heart of the Thunder defense, getting to the free throw line or finishing with his explosiveness. I said it's a different guy every night that pulls the Pacers back into a game where they're trailing or that pushes them over the line. Game 1, it was the combination of Obi Toppin and Miles Turner, and then they handed things off to Halliburton to hit the game winner. Game 3, TJ McConnell comes in the second quarter, and again, immediately makes several big impact plays. The Pacers were down by 8 to start the second quarter. First possession, McConnell drives, dumps it off to Siakam, who gets a bucket. Then he steals the inbound pass. Then off a miss, gets an offensive rebound, makes a great touch pass to Mathurin, and gets another assist. And then just a couple of minutes later in the second quarter, gets an assist to Aaron Nesmith. Once again, steals the inbound pass, throws it off of Cason Wallace, and is fired up with a visceral scream to the crowd. And just in those 3 minutes, TJ McConnell's impact was an 8-point game with Oklahoma City threatening to pull away, where, it's the second units now into the game and take the crowd out of it. And TJ McConnell, you might not think of it because it's only the second quarter, but I think TJ McConnell saved the game there for the Pacers. They could have gotten down 10, maybe 12, 14, and then you're looking at the same script as in game 2 where, okay, now OKC knows they've got him by the throat and they've got to step on the gas. And instead, TJ McConnell got him right back in the game with some big-time plays. He finished with 10 points, 5 assists, and 5 steals. It's the first time in over 50 years that a player has recorded those numbers in an NBA Finals game off the bench. 5 steals. 5. And, of course, Halliburton needed to step up. And he was just as instrumental as anybody else. Hit 4 threes, hit a couple of big ones in the second half. The 11 assists just setting up his teammates, setting up Mathurin, setting up Siakam. Setting up, the few threes that Neesmith and Nembhard hit from the corner, coming off of Halliburton, great pass, and a pick and roll. So, all the credit to the Pacers, all the credit to Rick Carlisle, who, and at this point, he's once again coaching circles around somebody else. We look at the last couple of runs the Heat made in the last few years, and I feel like most people see Eric Spoelstra, despite how much the Heat got destroyed in that series against the Cavs and how the last couple of years, the last 2 years from Miami haven't been good. I still think we most collectively look at Eric Spoelstra as a top 3 coach in the NBA. For years, Greg Popovich was right up there at the top as one of the greatest coaches, if not the best coach in the NBA. And now, Rick Carlisle has absolutely 100% entered that conversation. If not the best coach in the NBA, he is up there with Spoelstra, with anybody else that consistently wins. I don't think Steve Kerr is a top 3 coach in the NBA, but the resume speaks for itself with the championships, whether or not it was, he rode the coattails of Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, Klay Thompson, and Draymond or not. You got to put him in the conversation. But Rick Carlisle, he's there. And if Rick Carlisle ever leaves the Pacers again, every other team, all 29 other teams in the NBA should come knocking and should try to hire him. He should get any coaching job he wants ever again for the rest of his life if he ever leaves Indiana. His X's and O's, the offense, how it's operated through his vision and through Halliburton. The constant defensive pressure, using 10 guys, again, using Thomas Bryant for 3 minutes. Just throwing another body in there for a couple of minutes to give somebody a rest, or to help keep somebody like Siakam or Neesmith out of foul trouble when they got into foul trouble early on in the game. Playing a guy like Ben Shepherd, who doesn't really offer much at all offensively, if anything, unless he's wide open and can hit a 3. But he's a body. He knows how to play defense. He gives you energy. He gives you max effort. And it was guys like Ben Shepherd, and it's guys like Nembhard, and it's guys like McConnell that pick up Shai Gilgeous-Alexander 94 feet right at the baseline on the inbound pass, just like they did it to Jalen Brunson, and it helps wear down SGA. It helps wear down the Thunder. It wore down Jalen Brunson. If this was a boxing fight, if the Pacers were a collective boxer, they would win every fight, not by knockout. They would win it by decision because they go the distance, they go all 12 rounds, and it's just little body blow after little body blow. Clinch, hold on, wear down the other fighter, wear down the other team. They know that they have to win every game in 48 minutes. They cannot win a game at halftime. They can't win a game through 3 quarters. They've got to win every game through 48 minutes. But the way Rick Carlisle coaches, the constant defensive pressure, he knows it's a war of attrition It is death by 1,000 cuts. And that is what makes him the most special coach in the NBA right now. That's what makes this team the most special team this year because of the way they've played and the way that they've continued to defy the odds. Pascal Siakam wasn't an all-star this year. He's been an all-star in the past. Tyrese Halliburton was not an all-star this year. The Pacers did not have an all-star on this year's roster. They did not have an all-star. Think about that again. The Indiana Pacers did not have an all-star. Now, there's an asterisk there. Siakam was a replacement. Siakam was a replacement. But you look at this team, and you could say that Tyrese Halliburton has become a superstar this year because of the game-winning shots and the clutch performances. And it's tough to deny that. You could say what you want about 82 games in the regular season and how Tyrese Halliburton was underwhelming for those 82 games in the regular season. But what he's done in the postseason, it's tough to fight anybody if they want to say Tyrese Halliburton is a superstar or is a star because of what he's done in the postseason and what he's done in these playoffs. And Siakam, yes, all-star, all-NBA in years past. But just what this Pacers team was this year is and I've said it before, I'll continue to say it, a sum of their parts, a collective sum of their parts. And that is why Rick Carlisle, as the coach of this team, his vision, the way they've adapted and adopted his DNA and the way they play, he is as instrumental as anybody else for the reason that they're up 2-1 in the NBA Finals. And just quickly here as we, take a look at what went wrong for Oklahoma City. It was an offense that lacked creativity in the fourth quarter. It was a team that looked gassed, which if I thought there was one team that wouldn't get gassed by the Indiana Pacers in a best-of-7 series or even within a single game, I thought it would be the Thunder, who are the youngest team in the NBA. They've got guys. They use depth. They use guys off the bench. They use guys like Alex Caruso that wear you down, like Isaiah Joe, like Aaron Wiggins, like Isaiah Hartenstein, or, before this series, it was Cason Wallace coming off the bench to wear you down, but they, too, were victims of the Pacers doing what they've done to every team that they've played in this postseason. And the Thunder just looked tired in the fourth quarter. And there's no really other explanation. There's no other explanation other than they looked fatigued mentally and physically by the crowd, by the relentless defense and pressure, and the Pacers finding that extra gear. Just when the Thunder thought they had them at the end of the third quarter, nope, the Pacers all of a sudden, if they were wobbly or woozy, all of a sudden they regain their balance and they hit you with a big haymaker. And the Thunder were the latest victims of it. And you look at the box score, Chet Holmgren looks like he had a decent game, but he got utterly dominated in that fourth quarter by Miles Turner. That one possession where Chet Holmgren was on the wing, and it was the last 3 or 4 minutes, and the Pacers were in front at this point, and he had Lou Dort open in the corner. He passed it up to try to take a three by himself, got blocked by Miles Turner, got the ball back, tried to dribble through to the hoop. Pascal Siakam came over for the help, and he got blocked again. And at that point, I said, this game's over. That was with 2 minutes left to go, a 6-point game. That was the dagger right there. The Pacers doing it with their defense when it's the Thunder who have the second best net defensive rating in the NBA's history. It's the Pacers with their defense that won this game tonight, holding OKC to 18 points in the fourth quarter. And it's just another fantastic, well-deserved win for the Pacers. And it feels like it's time to realize that this series is most likely going the distance. It's going to go 7 games. 888-710-4ISN. That's 888-710-4476. Here on the Pat Boyle Show. When we come back, we're going to hear from coaches from both sides. We're going to hear from the genius that is Rick Carlisle. Going to hear from OKC's head coach Mark Daigneault as he continues to look for answers and your calls at 888-710-4476 when we come back on the Infinity Sports Network.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Well, Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can get a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. It all starts with an online intake form. Get started at hims.com/joy, and from there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs with options up to 95% less than the brand names. Millions of men experience ED, but Hims can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
No one likes having to choose. That's why, with America's best lineup of hybrids from Hyundai, you get the best of both worlds, like the reliable and efficient Tucson hybrid with America's best warranty, or the stylish yet capable Santa Fe hybrid with the power to navigate the toughest terrain. It's like having your cake and eating it too. You know, if you could drive a cake. Hybrids from Hyundai. It's the best of both worlds. Visit HyundaiUSA.com or call 562-314-4603 for more details.
What? All the budget has to be used now? And we can use all the media buy?
Javier's marketing firm just got its dream funding.
Okay, ideas. Bobbleheads? No. T-shirt cannon? I seriously need some help here.
He needs to find marketing managers who are worth every dollar.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Sponsoring a job on Indeed gives it a visibility boost so you can hire faster. Redeem your $75 credit at Indeed.com/credit. Terms and conditions apply.
It's the Pat Boyle Show.
Hartenstein attacks, fakes, goes up, and lays it off. And Halliburton could have grabbed the rebound, took a chance tapping it, but the Pacers rescue the possession. He's got the ball now. Right edge of the arc. Here comes a three. Halliburton with 22 points. Timeout, Oklahoma City.
The commentary is always going to be what it is. You know, most of the time, the talking heads on the major platforms.
Welcome back.
I couldn't care less, honestly. Like, what do they really know about basketball?
Welcome back to the Pat Boyle Show. It cut off Tyrese Halliburton there, and you heard Pacers radio on one of the many great plays that he made tonight. They're up 2-1 in the NBA Finals, a 116-107 victory. We will hear from Pacers head coach Rick Carlisle in just a moment, but as promised, your phone calls first, 888-710-4ISN. That's 888-710-4476. I'm admitting it. I think this series is now going to go the distance because I don't see any way the Pacers lose 2 games in a row at home. I'm still going to say it until I see Rick Carlisle's bald head lifting a title, lifting the Larry O'Brien trophy, but I still think the Thunder win this series, but I was wrong. I was wrong about this Pacers team. The defense that they reached in that fourth quarter tonight was – did not see that. I mean, they saw this team play good defense, some really good defense at times this series. The defense they played in that fourth quarter tonight was unbelievable. Let's get to Curtis, who's up in Indiana on the Pat Boyle Show. What's up, Curtis?
Oh, not too much. Thanks for having me on, Pat.
Yes, sir. What do you got?
Well, you know, I've been uneasy about this series the whole time. You know, the whole time. I started feeling better about it when I noticed Shea was laying on the ground after taking hits a lot longer.
Yeah.
Than what he normally does. You know, they weren't popping right up. They were taking that few extra seconds to get their breath. And that's when I started having a little bit more faith in the Pacers winning tonight. And also, Coach Dagnall, did he only play 7 of his players? I thought they were supposed to have a deep bench as well. And I'm going to get off here and just listen to what you have to say. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thanks, Curtis. It's a good point. It's, again, they're wearing another team out, and it is death by 1,000 cuts, death by 1,000 body blows, the war of attrition that the Pacers used to beat the Knicks. And now they're using it to slow down SGA, who had 24 points. And not that he didn't look aggressive. I think he just had an off shooting night. But you have to credit Andrew Nembhard's defense. You have to credit the way that they continue to pick him up all 94 feet when he does carry the ball past the half-court logo. I think it's a big reason why I started seeing Cason Wallace start bringing the ball past the timeline. That's what the Thunder have to do. If they want to pressure Shea Gilgeous-Alexander every time he's got the ball, you got to have somebody else take it up past half-court. Just that little bit of pressure over the course of 48 minutes, over how many possessions they've got bringing the ball past, 80 possessions, 70 possessions that SGA is involved in. Have Cason Wallace bring the ball past the timeline. Have Jalen Williams bring the ball past the timeline. But yeah, Dagnall played, I mean, in terms of you look at the actual box score of guys that played, it was 6 guys off the bench. Only 3 guys off the bench played 10 minutes or more. And only one off the bench played more than 20 minutes. That was Alex Caruso. I said it after game 1. He's got to play Isaiah Hartenstein more. He's got to use his height. He's got to use his physicality to control and to win the battle off the glass and win the battle off the boards. And he only played him 18 minutes tonight. And I think you have to commit. You have to stick to what made you such a great team in the regular season. And Mark Dagnall continues to overthink things and continues to get outcoached. Why they continue to try and go small ball when it's clearly not working. It works if you have a great night shooting. And the Thunder didn't have a bad night shooting. They went 47% from the field. They shot 10 of 22 from deep. And the Pacers didn't shoot the lights out. They only hit 9 threes. They shot 52% from the field, but it was the turnovers. It was the turnovers that crushed the Thunder tonight for a team that was number 1 in turnovers and number 1 in points off turnovers. They got beat at their own game. And Mark Dagnall looks like a coach that is panicked, that feels like he is very uneasy about what he wants to do. And a classic example, Aaron Wiggins, the guy that had a massive night off the bench for them in Game 2, scored 18 points. He played 10 minutes tonight. Didn't score a point. Only took 2 shots. But when you got guys off the bench that can contribute, and you saw how it worked out for Indiana tonight, Matherin, 27 points, McConnell, 10 points, being a game breaker, you can't just try to win this game with your starters. It was the same exact mistake that Tom Thibodeau made with the Knicks. You have to utilize your bench. He did it in game 2. Wiggins and Caruso combined for 38 points. He played Aaron Wiggins 10 minutes tonight and looked like he was ready to yank him any chance that he got. Aaron Wiggins missed the shot, you're coming out. You can't coach like that. You can't coach like that. That panicked way of coaching that Mark Daigneault is currently using, it's going to get him beat. They're not going to win this series. You've got to trust what got you here. And that is bigger lineups, winning the battle on the glass, dominating the battle on the glass like they can, and they've only done it in 1 game so far, and using your bench, using your depth. 888-710-4ISN. That's 888-710-4476. Wanted to get that call in, so when we come back, we'll play a couple of press conferences. We'll let you hear from Rick Carlisle, let you hear from Mark Daigneault. I want to hear how he tries to rationalize being down 2-1 in this series. And we'll hear from the MVP, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who had a very quiet night for his standards, only 24 points. That and your calls right here on the Pat Boyle Show, right after this update from Marco Belletti.
Infinity Sports Network, Sports Flash.
Well, Pat tight throughout, but again, the Pacers coming up big in the 4th.
Here comes Halliburton, outnumbered, he slows and waits. Now drives forward with the left hand, floating to the glass. No, but Y-E-S, as Toppin pulled it off the front of the rim and flushed it with 2 hands.
8 points for Obi Toppin off the bench. Tyrese Halliburton had 22, 9 rebounds, 11 assists. Pacers finished the Thunder 116-107. Call courtesy of the Pacers Radio Network. Indiana outscored OKC 32-18 in the 4th. Benedict Matherin off the bench led all scorers with 27. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander 24 points, but 6 of the Thunder's 17 turnovers as the Pacers lead the series 2-1. Knicks seem to be getting a very familiar response to their request to speak to other teams' coaches. You can add the Hawks' Quinn Snyder, the Bulls' Billy Donovan, and the Mavericks' Jason Kidd to the bevy of no's the Knicks have gotten thus far, having already heard the same from the Rockets with Ime Udoka and Chris Finch of the T-Wolves. Baseball, we had some history in Pittsburgh.
1 ball, 1 strike, the pitch. Drive to left center field. Sanoa going back to the track, looking up, and it is gone! There it is! Andrew McCutchen in 3rd place, all by himself.
On the franchise's home run list with number 241, passing Hall of Famer Roberto Clemente as the Pirates down the Marlins 5-2. Call courtesy of the Pirates Radio Network. Elsewhere, the Dodgers finished off the Padres 5-2. Teoscar Hernandez, a go-ahead 3-run shot. Yankees double up the Royals 6-3. Aaron Judge's 25th, 3rd straight game he's gone deep. Mets blanked the Nationals 5-0. Brandon Nimmo homered twice, while David Peterson went the distance, scattered 6 hits. Giants scored 7 times in the final couple innings, rallied by the Rockies 10-7. Red Sox clipped the Rays 4-3. Twins erased the Rangers 6-2. Orioles dominate the Tigers 10-1, courtesy of a 7-run 8th. Phillies disposed the Cubs 7-2. Kyle Schwarber is 21st. Guardians pound the Reds 11-2. Carlos Santana, a big grand slam. Blue Jays took out the Cardinals 5-2. Braves too much for the Brewers 6-2. Angels upend the A's 6-5. They complete the sweep. Astros rocked the White Sox 10-2. Christian Walker went deep, drove in 4. And the Diamondbacks topped the Mariners 5-2. Eugenio Suarez with a grand slam. I'm Marco Belletti.
This is JR from the JR Sport Brief. The Infinity Sports Network is on your smart speaker. Just say, play the Infinity Sports Network for the best in sports talk and entertainment.
Get a $15 prepaid MasterCard after rebate when you buy 5 quarts of Mobil 1 full synthetic motor oil at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
This Father's Day at Lowe's, score free gifts for the greatest dad. Right now, get a free Blackstone 8-piece accessory kit when you buy a Blackstone 28-inch griddle. Plus, get 2 free select Craftsman V20 tools when you buy an RP brushless drill and impact driver combo kit. Shop these deals and more this Father's Day at Lowe's. We help, you save. Valid through 6/15 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
Huge news. Right now at Wendy's, you can get a Son of Baconator for just $3. I don't think you understand this situation. The Son of Baconator is only $3 for a limited time. You know, smoked bacon, rich melted cheese. That Son of Baconator is only $3. Thank you to whoever wished upon that star. For bacon that just won't quit, gotta be Wendy's.
U.S. price and participation may vary. Prices may be higher in Alaska and Hawaii, not valid on a combo or on third-party delivery platforms.
Great open house. You gonna put in an offer?
Nah, I'm just here for the hors d'oeuvres. I could never afford the down payment.
Well, you know Navy Federal Credit Union offers a home buyer's choice loan with no down payment options, right?
They do? That's incredible.
Sorry, what?
A homebuyer's choice loan can open the door to home ownership. Navy Federal Credit Union. Our members are the mission. Terms and conditions apply. Equal housing lender. Loan subject to approval and eligibility requirements. Learn more at NavyFederal.org.
Check engine or ABS light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Boyle Show continues on the Infinity Sports Network.
Welcome back to the show. If you want to get involved on the NBA Finals discussion after the Pacers win Game 3, 116-107, the phone number is 888-710-4ISN. That's 888-710-4476. And I'm admitting it. This series is going to go the distance. This is going to go to a Game 7 in just over a week from now, where I think I'm still confident the Thunder win it, but I don't see how they would win both a Game 4 and a Game 6 in Indiana. So for that reason, thinking that the Pacers will go 1-1 in their next 2 home games, I think the Thunder win Game 4. I think they win Game 5, but then to beat the Pacers for a second straight time in Indiana, which would be in Game 6, I don't see it happening the way these first 3 games have gone. So I think that we're set up for a Game 7 for all the marbles. Before we get back to your phone calls here, let's hear from Pacers head coach Rick Carlisle, who, if he wasn't a Hall of Fame coach before this playoffs, he absolutely is now. He's a legend for how he has coached this team. Here he was speaking to the media after the win.
On a night where obviously you got a ton of contributions from a ton of guys, can you just kind of summarize the jobs that Ben and TJ did for you guys coming off the bench?
Yeah, I mean, those guys were tremendous, and TJ just brought a competitive will to the game. Mathurin jumped in there and immediately was aggressive and got the ball in the basket, and look, this is the kind of team that we are. We need everybody to be ready. It's not always going to be exactly the same guys that are stepping up with scoring and stuff like that, but this is how we got to do it, and we got to do it as a team, and we got to make it as hard as possible on them.
Left side, second row here.
Rick, what do you think of the way Tyrese performed tonight? Just a complete game overall as far as scoring, distributing, and also rebounding as well.
Yeah, terrific. I mean, he look, at every game you're going to have to make adjustments against this defense. I mean, there's just going to be different looks. You're going to have different high-level defenders on you. You're going to see some different coverage stuff. It's going to be constantly changing. And so I thought his approach tonight was exactly what it needed to be, a combination of spatial awareness and aggression, and, a real good feel for aggression to score, along with getting his teammates involved at the right times. And so, he was terrific. Pascal was terrific. Pascal, scored the first 6 points of the game when points were hard to come by, and he did it on 3 difficult shots, one-on-one, fadeaways. Those are tough shots. And so, I was proud of the way we bounced back from a rough ending to the third quarter. That was something that could have shaken us up a lot. But the guys that went back in there to start the fourth, they kept their head down and kept competing.
Yeah, the mentioning of Benedict Mathurin, with the question, answering that question on how he made such a big impact off the bench. TJ McConnell brought a competitive will to the game. I said it to start the show. That second quarter, they're down by 8. Looks like OKC's already starting to pull away, and then McConnell makes several key plays, steals multiple inbounds passes, makes an impact with his rebounding, his defense, his scoring, and his facilitating. That got them back in this game. That might have saved the game. You might not think about it, but they're down by 8. That could have easily, if TJ McConnell doesn't make those plays, OKC maybe goes up 10, 12, 14, 16. Not hard to imagine that happening at all if TJ McConnell doesn't bring the fire that he brings in the early part of that second quarter. And then the end of the third quarter where OKC retook the lead. It looked like it was going to be for good. Pacers weren't hitting shots. Didn't have, Mathurin had slowed down a bit. And then they start the fourth quarter with their hair on fire. And then with 9 minutes left to go, Mathurin hits the 3 to put him in front. And they never looked back. And just the way that their defense elevated to a level I have not seen this entire postseason was unreal. Let's hear from the losing side. Thunder trying to pick up the pieces. First time this series now that we've got a quick turnaround. Friday night, Game 4 in Indianapolis again. How do the Thunder respond? Here's their head coach, Mark Daignault, after another tough loss.
How would you sort of characterize those turnovers? And then, I guess, where did you feel Indy gained the upper hand down the stretch?
The turnovers were uncharacteristic. Obviously, we're usually pretty clean there. I give them credit. I thought they played really well. They played with great energy. They were physical. They pressured. They sustained it for much of the 48. I thought we did some good things. We got off to a really good start. and then got off to a really good start in the third. We really controlled the first and third quarters and had a really hard time in the second and the fourth. So we'll watch it. You know, it wasn't all bad, but we definitely have to play, you know, our style and impose our will for more of the 48 minutes if we want to come on the road and get a win.
Second row on the left.
Daniel Belbia. So seemed like a lot of switches tonight. And I know you guys are a switchable team, but it seemed like a lot of them didn't come with much resistance. Do you feel like that gave them a little too many good looks on their end?
I mean, we'll watch it. You know, every possession is different. You know, there's definitely possessions where I thought they were the aggressor, and we weren't, you know, in the ball enough. And there were some possessions that were really good. I thought specifically to start the third quarter, our pressure and physicality was right where it needed to be. So we had a lot of good stretches of the game, but they had more good stretches than we did and outplayed us over the course of 48 minutes. And obviously we need to play better if we want to give ourselves a better chance in Game 4.
First row, Tim.
What did you see from your offense to keep your offense from get going in the fourth quarter, and specifically from Shea? Only got up 3 shots, didn't get any assists down the stretch in that quarter.
Yeah, I mean, they really outplayed us in the fourth. You know, give them credit. I thought we were in really good shape coming out of the third quarter. We had a 5-point lead and kind of weathered the storm of the second quarter. You know, that was a rough quarter, and we were only down whatever we were at halftime, 4 or 6, and we got control of the game coming out of the third. And then in the fourth quarter, I just thought they really outplayed us on both ends. I thought they were in character in terms of their physicality, their pressure on defense, and then they were in character in terms of their pace on offense, and they just stacked way more, you know, quality possessions in the fourth quarter than we did.
Fourth quarter was a one-sided affair, and that's what it came down to. It was just back and forth the entire way. I don't think either team had a lead larger than 10 in this entire game. Yeah, 9 for both sides. And the Pacers' biggest lead came right at the end, where they won by 9. That fourth quarter was it. The turnovers being uncharacteristic, yeah, you bet. Thunder were number 1 in turnover differential, second best turnover differential in the last 30 years in the NBA. Number 1 in turnovers forced, number 1 in points off turnovers. Tonight they had 17 of them. Pacers only had 13. And the Pacers got 21 points off of the Thunder turnovers. OKC only got 14 points off the Pacers turnovers. That just hasn't happened this entire season, this entire postseason. It has not happened. And then Dagnall talking about, you know, we'll have to watch it, not wanting to admit that they were bad on their switches, and the Pacers defense, no matter what the Thunder threw at them, which wasn't very creative offensively, Indiana was ready to deal with it. And that's why I think it's going the distance now, because I don't know if Mark Dagnall has the coaching capability to adjust to things that have happened 2-3 games in this series like Rick Carlisle has. Want to get a quick phone call in here. Big Travis is up next in Fairfax on the Pat Boyle Show. What's up, Big Travis?
Doing well. You hear me? You can hear me?
I got you loud and clear.
Yeah, man. Hey, respect, man. Real fast, like 30 seconds. I tell you, brother, I've been doing this for 25 years by betting. I told everyone that don't sleep on the Pacers. Everybody say, oh, you know, no. This team's a grinder. This team is making me money, and I'm so blessed that they're doing what they're doing. And the Pacers might win it all, but because after winning this game, it's free for all for the next 4. God bless it all, and I'm telling you straight, my brother, the Pacers can win it, and let's make that money, bro. Always been on black. Love you, bro.
Big Travis. Yeah, you know what? I might just have to get uncomfortable with myself at this point. I've been so dug in on the Thunder winning this series, and I don't normally bet futures. I don't bet series prices. I don't bet series in advance. You know, I said Thunder in a sweep, but I don't normally like betting that kind of stuff where I've got to wait 2 weeks, sometimes, you know, even longer if you're betting futures. But maybe I just got to get uncomfortable. Maybe Pete the Body might be betting Pacers to win the finals at this point, which we'll do PB picks in the last segment here. But, yeah, I think that maybe the best way to go about this, if you're watching these games, just wait to the fourth quarter and bet the Pacers, especially if they're losing or if it's a tie game. The Pat Boyle Show on the Infinity Sports Network will do more of your NBA Finals calls, but coming up next, it's a Knicks for Clicks world. Leon Rose is going about the Knicks head coaching search the right way.
Clones, listen up. Not all beef jerky is the same. In fact, there are major differences in quality from one brand to the next. Old Trapper is a better way to snack, chock full of good protein to satisfy your manliest hunger cravings. Every bite is better for you and higher in essential protein than chips, sugar-filled energy bars, and candy. Old Trapper in the Clearview bag is the world's finest jerky, made with only the best ingredients. So ask for Old Trapper by name because no other jerky compares. Old Trapper, what's your beef?
Craftsman Days are here at Lowe's with big savings on the tools you need. Right now, get a free select tool when you buy the Craftsman V20 2-pack battery kit. Whether it's the backyard, the bathroom, or beyond, Craftsman has the tools to help you power through and get the project done right. Because DIYing is unpredictable, but your tools shouldn't be. Shop Craftsman at Lowe's today. Valid through 6/18 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
and 680.
Back here at Coors Field, time now for the national anthem, proudly sponsored by River Islands. Come home to River Islands in Lathrop and discover the San Joaquin River lifestyles with its lakes, parks, and schools. Start your tour today at riverislands.com.
Performing the national anthem this evening are members of the Resurrection Christian School Choir. They are under the direction of Amy Magruder. Ladies and gentlemen, please join them by singing along to our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the larks bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Way to go, kids. Nicely done. Beautiful rendition of our nation's national anthem. Lineups being exchanged at home plate right now. Ryan Christensen, bench coach for the Giants, is exchanging lineups with Clint Hurdle, who's the interim bench coach, former manager of the Colorado Rockies. It's a beautiful night for baseball here in Denver, and we are ready to get going. It's time for the lineups. They are sponsored by the Dolan Law Firm. They live here, they work here, they win here, dolanlawfirm.com. First, for the visiting Giants, 11 games over, 39-28. They are one back of the Dodgers, second place, the NL West. Dodgers already won today, so half a game to a game because the Dodgers don't play anymore. So if the Giants win tonight and tomorrow, there'll be a first-place tie as they head to Los Angeles. But first things first, here's Bob Melvin's lineup for tonight's game. Leading off in center field, Jung-Hoo Lee. Batting second at shortstop, Willie Adames. Hitting third in left field, Elliot Ramos. Hitting fourth, the speedy designated hitter, Wilmer Flores. Hitting fifth at first base, getting the nod over there tonight, Gerard Encarnacion. Hitting sixth at third with the home run in the ninth inning last night, Casey Schmidt. Grandson of the Carl, Mike Yastrzemski, hitting seventh. He'll be in right field tonight. Tyler Fitzgerald hitting eighth. He's at second base. And batting ninth and doing the catching once again tonight, Andrew Kisner. So that's Lee, Adames, Ramos, Flores, Encarnacion, Schmidt, Yastrzemski, Fitzgerald, Kisner. On the mound for the Giants, it's Robbie Ray Day. He's 8-1 with a 2.44 ERA. Earned his 8th win of the year last time out, 3-2 win against the Padres. All right, here's the Rockies starting lineup. They are last place in the National League West, 27.5 back of the Dodgers. They're 12-54. Here's Warren Schaefer, interim manager's lineup for tonight's game. Leading off in left field, Jordan Beck. Batting second, the designated hitter, Kyle Farmer. Hitting third and doing the catching, Hunter Goodman. He's hitting .282 with 10 home runs on the year, so probably the Rockies' best hitter. Hitting fourth, the cleanup hitter, second baseman Tyro Estrada. Hitting fifth in center field, Brenton Doyle. Hitting sixth at third base, former Brave Orlando Arcia. Batting seventh at first base, Keston Hira. Batting eighth, the shortstop, Ryan Ritter. And batting ninth in right field, Tyler Freeman. So that's Beck, Farmer, Goodman, Estrada, Doyle, Arcia, Hira, Ritter, Freeman, the Rockies starting lineup. And the local kid right here from Denver, Kyle Freeland, the left-hander, just took the mound. He's 1-8 on the year with a 5.19 ERA. Umpires for tonight's game: behind the plate, Ramon DeJesus. At first base, Edwin Jimenez. Second base, Paul Clemens. At third base, the crew chief, Adrian Johnson. So Robbie Ray just walking in from the bullpen with Andrew Kisner. Got a towel over his right shoulder. He is ready to get grunting here in a minute. This message is sponsored by Walk Up Personal Injury Law. It just takes more than a fighter. You need a champion. Visit walkuplaw.com. This copyrighted broadcast is presented by authority of the San Francisco Giants. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the San Francisco Giants. We are ready for baseball. Jung Hoo Lee is in the box. He's ready to rake, and here with the play-by-play is Joe Rizzo.
All right, thank you, FP. Here we go from Coors Field in Denver. Middle game of this series. Giants the 6-5 winner last night in the opener. The first pitch here this evening, and it misses outside to Jung Hoo Lee. Ball one.
Tonight's first pitch is at 6:39.
Giants come in having won 6 games in a row. They can match their longest winning streak of the season with another victory tonight as Lee takes ball 2 outside. Giants won 7 in a row very early in the year as part of that 8-1 start in early April. As Lee swings and lifts one foul out of play to the left. It's 2 balls, 1 strike. Jung Hoo Lee, who last night in the leadoff spot for the first time this season. And he led off the game with a triple. 2-1. And Freeland misses low. And now 3-1 to Jung Hoo Lee. This is Lee's first plate appearance against Kyle Freeland in his career. One of only 2 left-handed batters in the lineup tonight against the lefty Freeland. 3-1, and that's way outside. Ball 4, easy take. And the game begins with a 5-pitch walk to Jung Hoo Lee.
So Jung Hoo Lee on first right now. The sun is setting down the left field line behind the foul pole. It is right in the first baseman's eyes right here. You have a left-hander on the mound. You can go first move here because guys are scared to throw over because the first baseman can't see it. See if he decides to go.
We've seen that over the years. First basemen have difficulties, those pickoff attempts, as Willie Adames takes ball 1 outside. Willie, a home run yesterday, hit it 439 feet out to straightaway center. Snapped a 22-game homerless streak for him as he swings here, drives a fly ball high and deep, left center. This a good ride, way back. It's gone! Willie Adames does it again for the Giants. He's heating up, folks. A 2-run home run and 2 batters into the game. The Giants lead 2-0.
That ball landed in Wyoming. 107, 452. 452 feet. Fastball right down the middle, lower part of the zone, and Willie Adames got all of it.
Wow. He was in the bleachers just to the left of straightaway center as Ramos takes a ball low, and it was good 10, 12 rows up. It's 4:15 here to straightaway center at Coors Field as the 1-0, and that's high to Ramos. 2 balls, no strikes. So Willie Adames, he is getting right at the plate here in Denver. Open up this road trip. There's a called strike to make it 2-1. That's his 7th home run overall this season. He's hit 4 of those against the Rockies. 4 homers in 6 games against Colorado pitching this season. As Ramos swings, he hits a fly ball out into deep center. Doyle, though, moving back, has a beat on it as he squares himself up and makes the catch for out number 1. Well, Bob Melvin gave Willie Adames Sunday off. His first day off of the season. Coupled that with the team off day on Monday. Chance to give him a little bit of a reset. He had some great at-bats last night. Not only the home run, a sac fly, a key walk in the 9th inning. As Wilmer Flores takes high for a ball. And now he crushes a 452-foot homer in his first at-bat tonight. 2-0 Giants. Flores swings and misses. Flores picked up his team-leading 50th RBI of the year. And it was that infield a hit, beat out the dribbler. With the Giants down to their final out in the 9th inning. Takes that pitch inside, and it's 2-1. And then, of course, it was Mike Yastrzemski who followed with the go-ahead hit in that 6-5 win as Flores goes around. Could not hold up there on a low curve, and it's 2-2. One out here in the top of the first, just underway. And a 2-0 Giants lead thanks to the Willie Adames home run. Flores fouls it straight back.
Willie was upset after the game last night because he didn't get to see Wilmer Flores run to first on his swing and bunt in the 9th. So he said he'd watch the video today of it and then make fun of him after that. He was upset because he didn't see it. He was running the bases.
2-2, and it's low and in to Flores. Wilmer hit the ball 49 miles per hour. Just put it in play, you never know. Wilmer's got 3 infield hits this year. He only had 1 all of last season. 3-2 pitch is spoiled foul, straight back to the screen. Gerard Encarnacion waiting on deck. Early evening shadows covering the home plate area. Freeland still in the sunlight. Another 3-2. Flores lines it right past Freeland and into center field, a base hit. Got a breaking ball there on the 3-2, and Wilmer knew what to do with it. 8th pitch of the at-bat. A sharp 1-out single and a runner on now for Encarnacion.
Pro hitter. You don't even have time to set the defense right now. This is nice.
Yeah, we're falling behind already.
It's good. That means there's offense.
But there's a lot happening here in this first inning as Encarnacion takes a ball outside. How about the time and temp? It is a beautiful night. The time and temp sponsored by Planet Fitness. Planet Fitness, we're all strong on this planet. We started a minute early, 6:39. And 81 degrees here at the ballpark as Encarnacion takes a strike. Had our usual mid-afternoon thunderstorm that rolled in for just a few minutes a few hours ago, but we're dry right now. The 1-1, and it's high to Gerard, ball 2.
Gerard took about 8 at-bats off of Justin Verlander in a simulated game earlier today. So when you miss a lot of time, those can be really valuable. We'll see if it pays off here tonight.
Getting a start at first base tonight for the first time this year as he fouls this one straight back. He was right on that fastball at 92 from Freeland. That simulated game, it apparently went very well for Justin Verlander. He ended up throwing 65 pitches. Of course, they always want to see how you feel the next day. But it was very encouraging as Encarnacion swings and misses. A high curveball. He foul tipped it into the mid of Goodman. And that's out number 2. Rockies defensively tonight. It is Goodman catching. Hira at first, Estrada at second, Ritter at short with Arcia at third. Beck playing in left, Doyle in center. He's a Gold Glover out there. And it's Freeman in right. Here's Casey Schmidt. Giants lead 2-0. Schmidt takes ball 1 outside. Casey, who figures to get a lot of playing time here. The injury to Matt Chapman. Chapman going on the injured list before the game yesterday with that sprained right hand. Schmidt swings, hits a fly ball down the right field line towards the corner. Freeman over into foul territory. He slides and he can't get it. Just out of his reach as it bounces up against the short side wall. And that's strike 1 to Casey Schmidt. And Schmidt had 2 hits yesterday, including that big home run, the solo shot on the very first pitch of the top of the 9th inning. And that jump-started that Giants rally. Ended up scoring 4 runs in the 9th to win by that 6-5 final. Runner at first, 2 out. Schmidt swings, smashes it just foul. past third and down that left field line. Strike two.
I mean, tremendous opportunity for Casey right now for the obvious reasons, but when you're a young player and you're used to playing every day in the minors, you come up to the big leagues and you're not playing every day, it's hard to keep your swing locked in, to keep your rhythm. Now he's getting a long look, and he can really establish himself as an everyday major league player. He's got a big opportunity, big chance.
Here's Freeland's 1-2, and Schmidt starts to go. A sweeper that was low. They won't appeal. He held up. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
And if you hit, they'll find a place for you to play.
He's getting a chance to play his natural position now. Came up as a third baseman. Won a Gold Glove in the minor leagues at third. Here he takes strike 3. Backdoor curve freezes Casey Schmidt, and that ends the inning. But a nice start for the Giants. Willie Adames homers for his second straight night. A 2-run shot. It's the Giants 2, the Rockies nothing after a half an inning here on the KNBR Northern California Honda Dealers Radio Network.
Now back to Giants Gloves Poppin' on KNBR 104.5 and 680.
A start for Robbie Ray here tonight in Denver, and he pours in a curveball, a strike to Jordan Beck. Leading off here in the bottom of the first, Giants with the early 2-0 lead. 0-1 pitch, Beck swings, hits a high fly ball out to right field. Well hit, but playable. Backpedaling Yastrzemski, and in front of the warning track, he'll make the catch for out number 1. The Giants' defensive alignment is sponsored by Raven Law. Injured? Call the Giant Lawyer at 415-888-1045 or thegiantlawyer.com. Ray getting a chance to work with Andrew Kisner tonight. Kisner doing the catching as Farmer takes a ball. It's Encarnacion at first, Fitzgerald at second, Adames at short, Schmidt at third. Ramos playing in left, Lee in center, and Yastrzemski in right. 1-0 pitch, and Farmer with a pop-up. Shallow right center, Fitzgerald going out, waving his arms, camps under it, and makes the catch. 2 down very quickly here for Robbie Ray. It's been an outstanding first half for Robbie. 13 starts, an 8-1 record, and a 2.44 earned run average. He was the pitcher of the month, the National League for the month of May. And he's been at his best here recently as Hunter Goodman takes a ball outside. Ray over his last 4 starts, a 1.33 earned run average, 27 innings, and only 4 runs allowed. There's a called strike. That fastball at 93 right in there. Giants leading 2-0 here in the bottom of the first after the Willie Adames 2-run home run. 1-1 in the dirt with the curve. 2-1 to Goodman.
Love this note I saw on Ray today. Opponent's at 161 against his changeup. That's 6 points lower than the pitcher who taught him it, Tarek Skubal.
That's pretty good. It's the story we heard during the spring as Goodman fouls it back. Robbie Ray never really has thrown a changeup much as a big leaguer, but connected with Tarek Skubal, the Cy Young Award winner in the offseason.
And when they face each other in Game 7, it'll be a huge story.
Can't wait.
It already is a pretty big story, though.
2 balls, 2 strikes here to Goodman, who's been the Rockies' best hitter this year. Ray throws. There's a swing and a liner into left center field for a hit. Lee, a long run. He'll cut it off, but way out there in front of the warning track is Goodman around first, and he'll cruise into second with a stand-up 2-out double. Hunter Goodman, he might be the all-star representative for this Rockies team this year. He leads all National League catchers in home runs, RBIs, hits, slugging.
Trade for him right now.
he's got 3 hits and 6 at-bats of this series. As Thairo Estrada, the former Giant, takes a ball outside.
Just walk down the hallway. We'll take care of the rest.
Well, he's having a breakout year. It's only in his second big league season as Estrada fouls it straight back, 1-1. Giants, speaking of the catching position, did put Patrick Bailey on the 10-day injured list today. Bailey was a late scratch in yesterday's lineup. A neck strain for Bailey. Pitch is high. It's 2-1. And the word we have received from the Giants clubhouse seems to indicate that the Giants aren't overly concerned with the injury, but you can't really have only one healthy catcher. And Bailey not going to be able to play at least the next couple of days as Estrada fouls it straight back, now 2-2. So they had to put him on the injured list. Logan Porter, who was one of the Giants' non-roster invitees this spring, played a lot in the Cactus League, had been down in AAA Sacramento this year. Porter was called up. So it's Kisner and Porter, the 2 Giants catchers right now on the active roster. 2-2 pitch is fouled straight back. Estrada right on that fastball. Giants in front 2-0 here in the bottom of the first. Robbie Ray quickly retired the first 2 batters of this inning, but then the double from Goodman. Now a long battle with Thairo Estrada, who swings and grounds one to short. 2 hops right to Adames. He'll glove it waist high, and the throw on to first in time to get Estrada. And the inning is over. 1 hit, 1 left. Giants coming up in the second. They lead 2-0 here on the KNBR Northern California Honda Dealers Radio Network.
Back to Orange and Black Bats Kraken on KNBR 104.5 and 680.
Giants way ahead 2-0 as we go to the top of the second. This is the Taco Bell second inning. Download the Taco Bell app to unlock rewards and exclusive access.
It'll be Mike Yastrzemski to lead off. Kyle Freeland threw 29 pitches in that first inning as he misses outside to Yaz, ball one. It's like Mike Yastrzemski might be coming out of his slump. 4 RBIs in his last 2 games. What turned out to be the game-winning hit, the 9th inning yesterday. There's a called strike. Yastrzemski had gone 28 straight games without an RBI before knocking in 3 on Sunday in the homestand finale. And the one yesterday here can't hold up on a ball in the dirt. Yastrzemski turns back to Ramon De Jesus, the home plate umpire, questioning that call, maybe wondering why De Jesus didn't check with the third base umpire, Adrian Johnson. And now Mike will call time. Tyler Fitzgerald on deck, then Andrew Kisner, bottom third of the order here for the Giants. They lead in this game 2-0 after the Willie Adames homer. Yastrzemski swings, bounces it up the middle, but softly hit, shaded that way. Ritter gloves it. Low throw to first, but dug out nicely by Hira. It's in plenty of time to get Yastrzemski. And that's out number 1. Let's pause now for station identification. This is the KNBR Northern California Honda Dealers Radio Network.
This is the flagship of Giants baseball. Double play! KNBR and KNBR FM San Francisco, the sports leader.
Called strike 1 to Tyler Fitzgerald. Batting here with 1 out and nobody on in the top of the second. Giants 2, Rockies nothing. Fitzgerald takes high for a ball. We're coming to you live from the Hawaiian Airlines broadcast booth. Joe Rizzo, FP Santangelo, Darren Chan. Dave Fleming on the TV side this series. John Miller on assignment. There's a called strike. It's 1-2 to Fitzgerald. Giants have one more game here in Denver tomorrow, a day game. And then it's off to L.A. for the first Giants-Dodgers series of the season. Fitzgerald takes in the dirt, and it's 2-2.
You pointed out to me before the game that if the Giants win tonight, one at a time, right? And they win tomorrow, the Dodgers are off tomorrow. That would be a first-place tie in the National League West going into that series.
That'd be fun, I think. Here's a swing and a ground ball to third. Softly hit. Arcia charges, scoops it up, throws high to first. Over the head of the leaping Hira. The ball stays in play. Fitzgerald breaks for second, but it's picked up by Estrada. Fitzgerald has to stop. He's in a rundown now and will be tagged out near first for out number 2.
So the throw was high, and Fitzgerald beat it. By the time Hira came down, he kept running past the bag. Mark Holberg, Giants first base coach, was yelling 2-2-2, but Fitzgerald was way on the outfield grass. He was way too far down the line. Then really late decided to go to second base.
Kisner now swings, bounces one off of Freeland's glove, but it caroms right to Estrada, shaded up the middle. He'll pick it up and throw out Kisner at first. And just like that, the inning is over.
I got so much more in that after we come back.
All right. Well, stay tuned. Giants don't score in the second. Still a 2-0 Giants lead on the KNBR Northern California Honda Dealers Radio Network.
This is Giants baseball on KNBR 104.5 and 680.
2-0 Giants, bottom of the second inning here from Coors Field. Robbie Ray will face Doyle, Arcia, and Hira. 5, 6, and 7 in the Rockies lineup. Ray pitched around a 2-out double in the first. Giants lefty comes home and a called strike with a fastball. By the way, the initial ruling from the official scorer on that odd play with Fitzgerald in the top of the inning, as that pitch in the dirt. Official scorer has ruled it a hit for Fitzgerald. And then out after the rundown. Here's the 1-1 and a swing and a miss as Doyle's helmet goes flying off. FP, you had more for us on that.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a young player listening to this, you bust it down the line. As soon as you hit first base, the play is over. So you're going full speed through the bag. As soon as you hit that bag, it's short, choppy steps.
1-2 and a pop-up foul along the right field line. Yastrzemski over, but this will be out of play.
So once you hit the bag, break down, look over your right shoulder always. And if you find the ball gets past the first baseman, and you could see it when he jumps for it, you can anticipate that throw when he goes up. You hit the brakes, you stick your foot in the ground, you go straight line to second base. Tyler Fitzgerald kept running down the right field line. He was all the way in the outfield grass.
1-2 is line foul, third base side.
So hard 90, hit the front of the base always. As soon as you hit the base, choppy steps, break down, look over your right shoulder, find the baseball. You shouldn't need a first base coach to tell you to go to second base. You should find the ball on your own.
Well, then once he decided to go, it had become too late. Now another pop-up. This will be foul and into the lower deck on the first base
This
side.
is like a Vin Scully moment with all these foul balls. Pretty soon I'm going to tell you about Madison Bumgardner, the rabbit, and the snake.
1-2 here to Doyle as Ray delivers, and it's fouled straight back.
And then, when you get to second base, slide. You probably won't have to if you read it quick enough. And that's how you break down after you hit the bag at first.
It's too bad. He certainly could have gotten a second had he recognized it immediately. And then he just needed to stay put. Now a swing and a foul tip, and it's off the glove of Kisner. Could not hang on. Doyle's helmet again went flying off. He is still in the at-bat. Just got a piece of that one. Kisner is looking into his glove. How did I not catch that? Now the 1-2. It swung on and missed. High fastball. Ray reaching back there at 95. And he puts away Brenton Doyle for Ray, his first strikeout of the night. Here is Orlando Arcia, a new Rocky. Arcia had been with the Braves earlier this year, designated for assignment. Playing at third base tonight for Colorado, with Ryan McMahon getting a rare night off as Arcia takes a strike. It was just 2 years ago that Arcia was an all-star shortstop for the Braves. He was even still pretty productive a season ago as he takes a ball outside. But falling on some hard times this year. Now he'll call time. A 1 ball, 1 strike count with 1 out here in the bottom of the second. 2-0 Giants. Keston Hira is on deck. Here's Ray's pitch and a swing and a miss. Moved a fastball right by him.
Solid grunt. DC, we need to put some mics on the mound when he pitches.
Think we're allowed to do that?
I don't know. We could sneak down there early, take the early bus, put one in the dirt.
1 ball, 2 strikes to Arcia. And it's a little high with that fastball at 95. Robbie Ray shut down this Rockies team back on May the 2nd. 7 scoreless innings at Oracle Park. Only gave up 2 hits. As he bounces this changeup in. Now a full count. Ray is 4th in the National League in earned run average. He's tied for 1st in the National League with his 8 wins. Comes home and misses high. Ball 4. That's frustrating there for Robbie Ray. Looked like he was in control of that at bat. He's ahead 1-2, but missed badly with those last 3 pitches. And it's a 1-out walk. That'll bring up Keston Hiura. Hiura, former Brewers first rounder. Things didn't really work out for him in Milwaukee as he swings and misses at a high fastball. So now here with the Colorado Rockies playing some at first base. Only 13 at-bats for Hiura at the big league level this year. He's got 2 hits. The 0-1, and Ray misses high. 1 ball, 1 strike. Giants come in on the 6-game winning streak. And it's been well documented. All 6 of the wins during the streak have been by 1-run victories. Here's a pop-up.
Drop it.
Right to the second baseman Fitzgerald. He will make the catch. And just 2 steps onto the outfield grass. It wasn't really hit very high in the air. He decided to catch it.
Sorry, that was my inside voice. The old second baseman coming out.
You're saying drop it and then maybe
you could turn to
a double play.
You take a peek at the hitter, and if the hitter's not running out of the batter's box, which Hiura wasn't, you can drop it and turn a double play.
Now Ryan Ritter, Rockies rookie shortstop. A check swing on a pitch low and in. They appeal, and no swing, says Edwin Jimenez, first base umpire. 6 straight wins, all by 1 run. It's the first time that's happened in 36 years. The 1989 California Angels. Here's a swing and a little dribbler right out in front of home plate. Picking it up calmly with a bare hand, Kisner, and he'll throw to first to get Ritter for out number 3. So Ray works around the walk. Giants will have the top of the order coming up in the 3rd. They lead 2-0 on the KNBR Northern California Honda Dealers Radio Network.
Giants fans, stream the sports leader on the all-new KNBR app. Now back to the orange and black.
Ball 1 to Jung-Hoo Lee, leading off here in the 3rd inning. Giants 2, Rockies 0. 2-run home run in the 1st from Willie Adames as Lee takes ball 2 low and away. Jung-Hoo batting leadoff again. Started the game tonight with a walk ahead of the Adames homer. 2-0 from Freeland. Lee swings a sharp grounder fair inside of first, down the line, heading into the corner. And Lee is off to the races, rounding second, on his way to 3rd, and he's going to make it in standing. No relay throw even attempted. Jung-Hoo Lee triples for the 2nd night in a row. And a great start to the third inning for the Giants.
Yeah, right down the line into the corner, 105 miles an hour. I don't know what Jung-Hoo Lee's top exit velocity is, but that's got to be close. That ball was shredded.
And it's going to force the Rockies to bring the infield in. Not quite all the way in, a little more than halfway. And the first pitch to Willy Adames is low for ball one. So another opportunity here for Adames, who has homered in each of the first two games of this series. He's got 4 runs batted in already. These 2 games, takes inside, it's 2-0.
When you're struggling and you get a couple of big hits, all of a sudden the game slows down for you. Where you get in the batter's box and you're relaxed, it's going slower, your heart rate is slower, you're seeing the ball bigger.
2-0 pitch. Adames swings, hits a high fly ball out into right center. Not very deep. Freeman coming in, is under it. He makes the catch. Here comes Lee. Here comes the throw. It is up the line. Lee gets in standing. And it's another run for the Giants. Give Willy Adames yet another RBI. He's driven in all 3 tonight, and it's 3-0 Giants.
You thought with nobody out and the ball in the air that it was going to be a little bit too shallow. But Freeman didn't really get behind the baseball, and at first you thought Jung-Hoo Lee was bluffing. And I love the aggressive baseball. Why not?
That throw is a good 20 feet up the third base line as Ramos fouls one back for strike 1.
And if you're Willy Adames, you run over and give Jung-Hoo Lee a big hug because he just got you a sac fly and an RBI.
That he did. So the Giants have scored now 9 runs in this series. Willy Adames has driven in 5 of them. Here's a liner out to deep right center off the bat of Ramos, and that's going to slam off the bottom of the wall. Freeman will pick it up there. Ramos on his way to second, and he's got himself a 1-out double. That was a rocket off the bat of Elliot Ramos. Right off the bottom of the fence next to the 375 marker. And for the Giants, their second extra base hit of the inning.
Yeah, while all this fun is happening, go to your computer and vote for the Giants for the All-Star game. Chapman, Ramos, Jung-Hoo, Wilmer. Every single Giant, vote for him.
Some guys making a case tonight. As Wilmer, batting now, takes a strike.
Cast your 2025 MLB All-Star ballot at MLB.com/vote. Remember to vote daily. I remember when they had the perforated ballots. When you just punch out every single Giant all the way up and down the lineup.
I remember that too. 0-1 pitch. And Flores with a foul at home plate.
You'd get them at Candlestick. And you could get as many as you wanted. So we'd get a stack, and then we just punch a hole through like 8 of them at once. And I feel like we handed them to ushers, if I'm not mistaken.
And they would turn them in?
Yeah, and they turned them in.
Runner at second, 1 out here in this top of the third. 3-0 Giants as Flores fights one off, foul to the right. So the top of the order getting it done here tonight. Lee and Adames have combined on all the offense. Giants looking for more here after the Ramos double as Flores takes in the dirt with a curve. Spots, of course, that Wilmer has thrived in this year. A .373 batting average with runners in scoring position. His season average at .258, so it's over 100 points higher with runners at second and or third. 1-2, he swings and lifts a fly ball to center. Playable for Doyle, comes in a few steps, and he'll make the catch. So not this time for Wilmer Flores. 2 down. Bring up Encarnacion. Home run tonight from Willy Adames. We mentioned it, 452 feet. Just to the left of straightaway center. Willie's home run yesterday was 439 feet. As As Encarnacion takes a strike. And those are, in fact, the 2 longest Giants home runs this season. Back-to-back nights from Willy Adames, 452 and 439. Now a spin, pickoff play at second, but diving back in is Ramos. That's our leaderboard update. Sponsored by Bank of America, proud sponsor of the Junior Giants, helping inspire tomorrow's leaders on and off the field. Giants lead 3-0 here in the top of the third. Ramos at second with 2 down, 0-1 pitch, and Encarnacion swings and misses right through a curveball from Freeland, and it's 0-2. Kyle Freeland, it's been an inconsistent first half for him in this Rockies starting rotation. Is 0-2, and he bounces in that curveball. He's got a 4-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio. That's very good. Hadn't been giving up many home runs, but a lot of hits. And like really most of these Rockies pitchers, he's not getting much run support. Rockies just aren't scoring very much this year, even at home. 1-2, a swing. There's a high drive out to deep right into the corner. Freeman back onto the warning track, reaches up now, and he makes the catch. Right in front of the 350 sign. In that right field corner. Encarnacion gave it a good ride, but not quite enough. Giants, though, do get another run. Lead with a triple. Adames the sacrifice fly. Middle of the third. It's the Giants 3 and the Rockies 0 on the KNBR Northern California Honda Dealers Radio Network.
Hey.
Listen to Giants baseball on your smart speaker. Just say play KNBR.
3-0 Giants, bottom of the third as Robbie Ray throws ball 1 inside to Tyler Freeman. Rockies' 9th place hitter. 1-0. And it's low and in again, ball 2. Ray's pitched around a first inning double and a second inning walk. The Giants have backed him with some early offensive support here tonight. 3-0 lead. 2-0 pitch. And Freeman looks at a strike. Fastball right down the middle. Robbie Ray with those 8 wins mentioned how he's tied for first in the National League. He's just 1 win behind the Yankees' Max Fried for the Major League lead. Here's a liner toward short, leaping Adames, and it's just out of his reach. Out into left center, a base hit. Time to jump, but just missed it. So it's a leadoff single for Freeman. First time tonight the Rockies have gotten the leadoff man on in an inning. Before Beck bats, Kisner's walking over to the Giants dugout. It's a pitch count issue.
Man, I wish I would have invented that.
Pitch count?
Yeah.
Because you would have done a better job?
No, just because it works part of the time and you get paid a lot for it.
good to go now. Got one that's fully charged. And now it'll be Ray against Jordan Beck. Flied out in his first at-bat. Beck takes a strike. Colorado Rockies at 12-54 on the year. Tied for the worst 66 game start since 1900. And this is historic right now. As Beck takes a ball low, 1-1. The 1932 Boston Red Sox were also 12-50.